It's time for Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Hello and welcome in to a midweek Wednesday, November 16th edition of Sportstime on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. I am former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn on Twitter at G_Kuhn71. Producing the program is Bryant Dacus on Twitter at Bryant_Dacus. Bryant, sort of first big night of college basketball last night. You enjoy it?
Oh, I was
massive night.
I had a headache by the end of the night. Okay. It was a wild night.
You stay up for the late stuff too?
I don't even remember. Maybe.
Yeah, USC
Maybe.
Was late.
Well, I don't have Pac-12 network, so no, I didn't watch that game.
Big struggle win they had last night.
Yeah, well, I like I said, Pac-12 network, you can only get it on like two things. It's ridiculous. Pac-12 is the worst out of any of the networks. It's awful.
Yeah, it's not great. My partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy on Twitter at Brett Norsworthy. Brett, how are you? How was your night last night?
My night last night was entertaining, and I told Bryant just a second ago, regardless of scores last night, the Grizzlies got better last night, and the Tigers got infinitely better last night.
I thought that was, that was a scheduled loss when we're talking about for the Tigers. We'll talk about the Grizzlies. I think there's some things to break down. Of course, Charles Barkley says his little thing, I guess we should say, about Ja in regards to making teammates better. He doesn't think that he does that at a high level yet. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But, I mean, for the Tigers, I thought the in-game situation.
Has Charles Barkley heard a healthy Desmond Bain?
Yeah. We'll discuss.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Tigers last night, though, I thought they fought. At the very end, they scrapped. I thought that the defensively, even though they gave up 90, they played hard. And Penny, in that in-game situation, I thought sort of passed and did what he was supposed to do, and he got those guys bought in, and they almost had a shot to put themselves back in it and potentially get to overtime.
They will see better teams than SLU the rest of this year. They'll see better teams than SLU in the rest of this month. But last night will help them, and it will help them come tournament time, not just with seeding, but with being battle-tested. Gabe, I doubt very seriously they will play in front of an environment in the NCAA tournament any more raucous than Chaffetz was last night.
Chaffetz was awesome last night.
It was a hot house.
And also, that SLU team combats experience with experience when they're playing the Tigers, and they have a lot of three-point shooting. It's a tough matchup.
That's what they do.
It's a really tough matchup for the Tigers, and I knew it going in, and that's just the truth of the matter.
Could you say SLU is kind of a lesser version of what Nate Oates really wants Bama to be? If the threes fall, they're in great shape. If they don't, they're in jeopardy. If they don't make any, you got us easily.
I think that's fair. Alabama has a lot of younger, better 5-star, 4-star talent.
A little more athletic.
Right. So they're able to they recruit better.
I didn't want to say poor man's because I like Travis Ford and I like Slick.
I don't think
so I went lesser version.
Because I don't know if I got to see Alabama really break through first. I like Brandon Miller. I like what he's doing in his freshman season.
Gabe, me too.
I'm going to be honest, though.
Bama's got to show a bunch of people, and the Tigers will play them there at Coleman.
That SLU team, I think, is a lot better than they're getting credit for right now. That bench is tough. Yuri Collins became one of my favorite players in college basketball last night. Just unbelievable IQ, great offensive player. He ended with 22. Like, they have some dude. Gibson Jimerson, a fourth-year sophomore, which I looked up last night. That's insane. That's some COVID math for you right there.
Yeah, that's new math.
But they are a well-put-together team. Do they have the high-end talent that a team like Alabama possesses? Probably not. But they have the experience to sort of combat that type of thing.
All right, tell me my in-game comparison. You know, everybody's got to compare people to players past. The college version at Butler of Shelvin Mack. Wasn't that Yuri Collins?
That's not bad. That is not terrible because Shelvin Mack had some offensive. I mean, he could play some offensive.
Some shake and bake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At college.
Yeah. Yuri Collins, I mean, I don't know there are very few college players with the ability to spread the ball around like that. He's had over 9 assists in every game this year so far, and he led the nation in assists last year. Like that's sort of a different that you don't see that often.
And SLU will probably be a first round 10, 8 or 9, and scare the daylights out of somebody in the second round.
I want to see them against the rest of their schedule, Brett. I really do. I think that is a very good team right there.
I do too.
Certainly a top of the line A10, and I think that's a tournament team, almost no doubt. Obviously, injuries, other things could happen, but that's a tournament team.
But that Tigers comeback, that was some scrapping. That was hard fought. They could have tossed the towel. We've seen Tiger teams that have been in that spot and said, "Okay, no mas."
Now, there are a few things about that effort that reared their ugly head that, like, I knew were going to be issues, and they are issues. And there's something that I don't know how fixable they are for the Tigers going forward. I don't think the Tigers are a bad team by any stretch of the imagination, but they do have weak points that need to be discussed. Let me lay out the show really quick, and we'll get into those. First off, our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. On the show today, we're going to have Tigers and SLU in just a second. College football playoff rankings. By the way, T-minus 6 days until I actually complain. So I told you the 22nd would be my first college football playoff that I got my complaints.
And you're a man of your word.
I'm a man of my word. But we will talk about rankings and scenarios here at the bottom of the hour before we talk with Barrett Jones at 4 o'clock. I'll get to the guests in just a second. Grizzlies versus Pels we'll talk about. Charles Barkley says that Ja Morant doesn't make his teammates better. We'll dive into that, and we will discuss around 4:30. In the NBA, elsewhere around the NBA, the Nets get, hammered. Just killed, pulled limb from limb by the Sacramento Kings.
We're playing better.
They're playing better, but damn, they gave up 153 points to the Kings.
About 153 points.
Exactly, and KD sounded off and basically said his teammates aren't good enough after the game when he was asked about why that game went the way it went. We'll discuss that. NFL news notes. By the way, Deshaun Watson returns to practice today. I don't think we're prepared for that. We're going to have to in 2 weeks when he actually plays, are we going to be prepared for all of the – we're going to have more discussions. People are going to be – the blowback's going to be
I'm prepared
insane.
for it. From here on, he has served his punishment. All I'm talking about is hits, runs, and errors.
I'm prepared for it, but I'm not. The amount of back and forth discussion.
Yeah.
About him being out
it's
there.
football time now.
But again, it will come back to the surface at least for a week or two. As he returns.
June is when I played lawyer.
Yeah.
October, November, and December, I play football.
Yes, I play analyst at that point. Also, the Cowboys defense. There's some stats out there. The Cowboys defense has taken a step back with Dak in the lineup, and we'll explore why. We'll get to those stats, and we'll discuss what the reasons are. Is there
causation?
I think there is a little bit of causation that we'll have to explore. It's more about game planning than it is about Dak.
That's interesting. I like that.
I don't think it's necessarily Dak's fault, if that makes sense.
I love it when you throw deep like that. I love that.
I think there's some underlying issues there with how they call offense when Dak's in there. Now, 3:30 as far as guests are concerned. Alex Kuhn will join us, KGYM Radio, Cedar Rapids, also from the Chicago Bears Network. Plenty to get to with him. Barrett Jones joins us at 4 o'clock as he normally does on a Wednesday to talk some college football, some Bama, some SEC as a whole. And then 5 o'clock, Kevin Sweeney will join us, College Basketball Central, Sports Illustrated, and we will talk the national picture
Is
of
Kevin
college
the
basketball.
happiest guy in the country right now?
Oh, gosh, yes. And Kevin, I don't know how Kevin does it, but the foremost encyclopedia of college basketball. You could ask him about every single team in the country, and he'd have a full-on analysis of it. He'll know all the teams.
He did a full 300 and however many team ranking before the season. Every team, a little paragraph for every team.
Kevin's unbelievable.
And it shows in anything. And all the time people ask me, how do I break through? How do I get started? First of all, bring hair on fire passion. First of all, bring hair, which I'm not bringing any. And I got
used to.
Well, you gave it all,
Yeah. Gave it to the game. Charge that to the game.
You're not going to do anything well without a passion, an unbridled passion for it. And Kevin's one of those guys. Mm-hmm. He wishes it was 26 hours in a day.
Yes, no question. But he'll join us at 5 o'clock, and we'll have plenty to discuss with him. Listener line's 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live, see our bright, smiling faces. Brett still has some hair. He's selling himself short. If you want to see him, you can also message us on our socials.
Over and under.
Sports 56, WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and go to our website, sports56whbq.com. So Tigers, of course, lose 90-84 to SLU. Scheduled loss for all three of us, and we all picked SLU last night. That's a very good basketball team, and especially on the road. Chaffetz was rocking. The Tigers decided late in that first half that they were going to try to put up three-point shots to try to stick in that game. And it worked, right? It worked. Jonathan Lawson gave them a spark from three. He was 2 for 2 in the first half. They were down 29-20. He hit 2 to cut it to 29-26. They were 6 for 14 from three. They were out shooting SLU at the half, and they were still down 4. That's when I sort of sat down and looked at the situation and looked at how the back and forth of the game was going, and I realized this is going to be it's going to be an uphill battle to be able to not just stay in this game, but go win this game, especially on
St. Louis was going to have to go stone cold.
Yes, and that just didn't happen. Gibson, Jemerson, Mary
I don't know
Collins,
that
they got
I think the defensive effort for the Tigers was pretty good.
Yep, but it was just up and down. The pace at 90-84, you look at that and you say, well, defensive effort.
Okay, the TV announcer said that was the pace the Tigers wanted. Did y'all think that?
Yes and no, because I think SLU can play at that pace as well. I think SLU is well equipped to play at that pace. That's what they want to do.
Because I asked Dave how many points to win that game, and I thought something in the 80s more conducive to Memphis than even that 190 number.
Mm-hmm. But they outshot SLU in the first half. We're down 4, and I think they can learn a lot from what they did the rest of the game because they just chucked and ducked. They shot everything they could. And SLU was playing under screens, so they were giving them three-point looks, and they just couldn't make many of them. They only made 3 in the second half, finished 9 for 31. I would imagine, just looking at how this team's going to have to win, 31 threes cannot be in the books if they want to go win ball games.
I don't think that's the plan either in St. Louis University, the Billikens. They will catch a night like the reference earlier to Alabama, when nothing's falling and they get blasted.
Yeah. I think there's potential for that. Although Francis Okoro is a solid player, Perkins solid player, Pickett solid player, and they can do it from inside the 3-point line. I'm telling you, Brett, I really like this team. I really like this team. Also,
I do too, but I think Memphis will play better teams than that.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they're playing Auburn and Alabama. We'll see. And Houston. Can't forget about them in conference. Also, the front court depth, we said coming into the year was going to be a struggle. We knew Malcolm Dandridge was going to have to be that guy. They brought in KO to try to, I guess, add depth. Jamar Young, I guess, to try to add depth. That front court depth is going to be an issue all year. I like KO. I like what they thought about him coming in. He needs a lot more development. He only played 8 minutes last night. I don't think he's quite ready to play. You looked at the defensive IQ last night. It's just not there. Offensively, he was in the way constantly. Malcolm Dandridge got into foul trouble, and SLU was able to take advantage of that. SLU rebounded well after that. Francis Okoro started to finish at the rim, and everybody else started to finish at the rim once Malcolm Dandridge was there. They don't quite have enough depth in that front court. They may have, and this comes down to Penny Hardaway. What does he do to play with that lineup to make it work?
Yeah, for Malcolm Dandridge, I think when he's good, but it's not consistent enough, and it just hadn't been. Will it be this year?
He's the best they got, right? That's
he's the best they got.
That's the thing we have to really get to.
He's about all they have.
I don't know how you fully play around with a lineup to make it work. Chandler Lawson, I think, can give you solid minutes. Very high IQ defensive player. Offensively, leaves a lot to be desired. But KO, as much as there were sort of high hopes with his athleticism and blocking, he can block people's shots, he can rebound. I don't see right now I don't see a guy that can play for you 15 minutes a game and give you solid minutes that keep you in a ball game. That's what when I look at KO. That's how I feel.
I think he'll be great against lesser personnel, against lesser opponents.
But in these big games, in these, I mean, even in conference games, I think there'll be some tough times for him to really come along. Also, Alex Lomax. I love Alex Lomax. I think Alex Lomax is a useful piece of this team. 8 shots and not making any of them, there are going to be nights like that for him offensively if you give him the green light. And I think at some point you probably needed to make him stop and pull him, put somebody else in there, whether it's Elijah McCadden, Jaden Hardaway, whoever it was. There was a time last night where I thought you needed to look in a different direction for offensive purposes, because there's no way you're sticking in there with SLU without offense.
And Gabe, when Alex Lomax, with his attributes, when he helps, everybody loves the story, local youngsters staying around. But by the end of the year, it's going to feel like Alex Lomax has played in Memphis longer than Mark Gasol and Mike Conley did.
He has. What are we talking about? He's been here forever. I mean, he's been here for a long, long time. But for him, I like what he brings to the floor. Offensively, I don't think he brings all that much night to night. And last night he tried to bring it 0 for 8 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. That's something against the team as offensively inclined as SLU you can't have. You just can't have it.
This hour of our show brought to you every day, sponsored by Lexus of Memphis, and we appreciate them so much. They wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a happy start to the holiday season. The one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call for any service inquiry at 901-334-9673. Great offers on the remaining 2022 models, the 23 starting to take over, and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and look at the Christmas decorations when they get that completed. But put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 22 or 23 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
For me, that's the Tigers losing to SLU and the Grizzlies losing to the Pelicans. You have two basketball teams in town who take losses last night, but at the same time, I don't think there needs to be any freaking out. There needs to be no panic buttons. There needs to be no jumping off the cliff yet. Step down from that ledge, relax, it's fine. Tigers, I thought this was a scheduled loss to SLU. They have some issues that SLU's able to take advantage of. SLU can get up and down. They can shoot the 3-ball. Tigers can't shoot the 3-ball. It's really hard for them to stick in a game like that. I thought they fought. On the other side, the Grizz traveled to New Orleans without Desmond Bain. I thought they put up a fight. They were up at halftime. Ja drops 36. The Pels win a relatively close game for the most part, 113-102. Jaren returned. He was rusty offensively. I think we expect that. Dylan had his Dylan game offensively. Point is, I think both of these teams are in good hands. I think they will have good seasons. But that type of loss, national television, there's no reason to push any type of panic button.
My top story, from one end of the mighty Mississippi to the other, teams with Memphis on the jersey, they didn't have great nights. They both lost last night. The Memphis Tigers in St. Louis and the Memphis Grizzlies in New Orleans. But, okay, it's November 16th. The Tigers showed a lot, I think, against a team that maybe can make the Sweet 16. Certainly will be a tough out for somebody whenever come March in March Madness for St. Louis University. And for the Grizzlies, get well soon. Understandable. And we know New Orleans is coming. New Orleans is coming with or without Zion.
But yeah, I think great minds think alike on that. There's no reason to be worried. I think both these teams, grand scheme of a full season and what they have on their schedule, they're in fine hands, and they can weather the storm.
This wasn't losing at Georgia last night for the Tigers.
No, it was not.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day has to do with a very, very sad set of circumstances. It has to do with Virginia football. They lost 3 football players due to a shooting on their campus in a bus coming back from a field trip. and it's well documented. And we were wondering what was going to happen with the rest of their season. Obviously, Tony Elliott in year one coming over, having to deal with, and just watching his presser yesterday was heartbreaking. It's just so hard, a terrible situation, and having to try to talk to those guys in that locker room about it, I can't imagine for Tony Elliott. But they have canceled their final home game of the season versus Coastal Carolina. Just a nasty situation made worse by gun violence, and we see that constantly in this country. I hope we can pray for a better day, and we can get to that better day at some point.
And their final game, their big rivalry against Virginia Tech, I wouldn't be surprised if that's not played either. My not top story, college football playoff out last night. Don't worry about the tea leaves and what this might mean and what that might mean. Let's don't turn college football into astrology. Let's don't worry about it that much. Follow the lead from Gabe Kuhn and not worry about it until November 22nd. But on November 22nd, and most importantly on that final poll, if there's 2 or 3 teams from one league, or 2 from one and 2 from another, like it appears that very easily could be, or if there's 4 teams from one league, which that's not going to happen, but if it happened, how fair would it be to leave out a team that most people recognize as better for someone that's not? Isn't that patently unfair?
Yep, and I think, are you referring to maybe an undefeated team to a one-loss team? Is that what you're referring to in that regard, or are you just saying generally?
Gabe, really in the abstract, however it falls out. If they judge a team better, we know there are teams with 0 losses that are not better than some team with 4 losses.
But precedent's been set, right? Precedent has been set.
Mostly.
And I think, and people get mad at this, I don't care. I think there's a good discussion to be had about this would be a great year for expanded playoff. This would be a fantastic year for an expanded playoff. Alabama sitting at number 8. Clemson at 9.
You know who would really be fired up about a 12-team playoff? The Ole Miss Rebels running on the field Saturday night. Mm-hmm. They would have to improve that resume.
And UCF would be the Group of 5 representative right this second at 20. They are the Cotton Bowl representative at the moment. Gus Malzahn doing a good job, even with those 2 losses, has done a good job there this year. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day.
Brett Northworthy here for FanDuel. Now is the perfect time to download the FanDuel app, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Sign up with promo code SPORTS56 and have fun with the NBA tonight, or with the action tonight, or the college basketball tonight, and for sure tomorrow night when the NFL starts back and into the big college football weekend. FanDuel with all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props, live betting. And when you win, you get your winnings paid fast, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS56 for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code SPORTS56. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Let's go ahead and grab a break. When we come back, Alex Kuhn joins us.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, Jeff Allen, the year's winding down. What you got planned before we ring in the new year at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Year-end sales event is on. How about 41 MPG Highway 2023 Kia Forte LXS $289 a month, 36-month lease with $27.99 due at signing, or a 2022 Kia Sorento $391 a month, 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing.
Jeff, you're smashing high gas prices, and you got something for everybody over there. Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain Powertrain Limited Warranty.
But if you don't see exactly what you're looking for, I'll order it for you, and you won't pay over MSRP at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
That's Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com. Forte PE 543,577, MSRP 22,335, Sorrento NG 149,424, MSRP 32,305. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22. With approved credit, dealer stock only. Warranties are limited. Powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
It's gotten colder outside, and the folks at Family Leisure want you to relax at home in your new massage chair or catch a game in your new home theater set. The Relax at Home sale is going on right now at Family Leisure with great deals on pool tables or shuffleboards, or enjoy a game with all your friends and your family. Also on sale now, saunas, hot tubs, patio furniture. It's the Relax at Home sale. Come by Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. That's where you'll relax at home.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's the year-end sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi, and have we got a deal for you? Get power, safety, and bold style with 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $329 a month or $25,345. And take your pick at Gossett Mitsubishi, 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander or 2023 Eclipse Cross. We Gossett at $379 a month, or you'll find 1.9 for 36 months available. And if you're looking for peace of mind in your new ride, get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Shop Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online anytime at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Sport 75 months at 5.44 APR. Outlander and Eclipse 72 months at 4.90. All 500 military rebates. Sport NU 020 537. MSRP 26095. Outlander PC 009630. MSRP 296. Eclipse PC 006,400. MSRP 28785. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22. Dealer stock only.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect machine. It's really a miracle of evolution.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling. Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He's Stats. Alex Kuhn is the co-host of the Todd Brommelkamp Show with Alex Kuhn on KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Also the studio producer for the Bears on WBBM News Radio in Chicago. You can find him on Twitter at AlexKuhn523. Speaking of Twitter, Alex, are you navigating the new Twitter sphere well, or is it still bothering you? Twitter Blue subscriptions.
I'm navigating the Twitter sphere as best as I can.
Yeah, just like everybody else. I hear you.
Just like every other time, except maybe a little bit more now.
They're tanking. They're literally out here tanking prescription drug company stocks. Unbelievable. I ain't seen anything like it. It's insane.
It's insanity. But we're at least with the sports world at this point. You go verified versus unverified, and you really, really now have to look to make sure that you're not seeing a troll account. Well, you got to make sure now.
They have a second verification check now. I don't know if you guys have second verification check. Makes a whole lot of sense. The first one wasn't enough, so we have to have a second, right? And I'm glad to see you didn't buy into Twitter Blue. I'm glad you didn't buy that subscription. You stayed away.
Yeah, $8 is a little too much.
Yeah, it's too steep. I don't get paid like that. Now, I know you got to see the before we get into sort of Big Ten college football as a whole, I know you got to see the John Morant experience last night. Did you enjoy it? And do you agree with Charles Barkley that he doesn't make his teammates better?
I don't think I've ever tuned in to watch John Morant and not been entertained.
Mm-hmm.
That's never happened. What is Chuck's argument for him not making his teammates better? I don't understand that.
It's more of a statement than an argument, Al. It's just he doesn't make his teammates better. That's his.
It's provocative.
The Memphis Grizzlies almost made it to the Western Conference Finals last year.
Yeah.
I mean, as you notice what Desmond Bain does, but also this, in a ever so slight defense of Charles Barkley, he is paid to offer an opinion, even if we think it's nuts.
Yep.
No, I like Chuck. I just want him to show his work there. I'm legitimately like, okay, what do you mean by that? I'm trying to figure that one out.
And I'm not convinced. I'm pretty positive that Charles and Shaq don't necessarily watch the NBA. They don't have a League Pass subscription, if you will. They're not just going on League Pass like the rest. I think they watch the games that are presented in front of them when they have to do TNT on Tuesday and Thursday.
And fellas, I don't agree with this comeback, but you know what their comeback would be to that, Gabe, and to show your work. Go to Springfield.
What does Shaq say? He says, "I'm triple OG certified." What does he say? Something certified. Who knows? But yeah, he always says that. That's his consistent comeback. But it is what it is. We'll move on from that. Now, college football playoff rankings come out. If you know me, Al, I think I've told you this as well. It's T-minus 6 days until I actually complain about the college football playoff rankings. I have turned over a new leaf this year. I will not even
Do you think
begin
there'll be
to complain.
something to complain about in 6 days, Gabe?
I think there will. Yeah, I'll find something. Come on, Brett. I haven't complained this long. I got to complain a lot when it comes around. When you look at the way it's set up right this second, the college football playoff. When you look at these scenarios, I sort of look at Georgia as in, one of Ohio State and Michigan as in, depending who wins that game and gets the Big Ten championship nod. TCU at the moment is in. So let's talk about that 4th spot. Do you think it's more likely that Tennessee gets in with one win, or a Big Ten team, whoever loses that Ohio State-Michigan game, with one loss? Who do you think is more likely, Tennessee or that one-loss Big Ten team?
That's an interesting question. Like, I'm trying to figure this out, because at that point you look at the committee and which way do they go? You have two good options right there. If you're the committee, you have another team out of the SEC with a huge victory over Alabama, and you have a Michigan team that has played well all season long, but did not play a good non-conference schedule. So probably probably Tennessee, right? Like, I guess. But probably Tennessee, to answer your question.
Tennessee could make the case they won the West this year. They won the SEC West.
Sorry, I'm cut out there. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
With their wins over Alabama and LSU in Baton Rouge, they could make a case, hey, we won the West this year.
Yeah, and quite honestly, with those wins, you would think that right there would be enough for the committee to give them the nod in that situation.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that gets me too with this Tennessee discussion, I personally think that they should be in if they go through the rest of their schedule unscathed, which is probably likely. But could you imagine them getting left out and their one loss is against Georgia, the number one team in the country, who likely will win the SEC when it's all said and done? That would be a brutal beat if you're a Tennessee fan or on that team.
Yeah, look, I think for Tennessee fans, they have a clear path here. Like they look at and see South Carolina and Vanderbilt and the rest of the country right now just in shambles. You see the Pac-12 hanging on by a thread. You see maybe a Big Ten team, two Big Ten teams getting in, but one with a very flawed non-conference schedule. And I know the committee. I have a hard time believing that a team with one loss, and that one loss being Georgia, that with that same team having wins over LSU and Alabama not getting in. I just have a very difficult time seeing that scenario play out.
Right.
Alex, I think I asked you this around the time. Practice started in August. I know early into September. I haven't asked it in a while. Who's the third and fourth best teams in the Big Ten? Who's number 3, number 4?
Ooh, I still think right now number 3 is Penn State. Mm-hmm. And I know that they got humbled very much by they got humbled by Michigan, but they're going to finish the season at 10-2, and just pure talent wise, I still give the nod to Penn State in that situation. Number 4, the number 4 team, I have no idea.
All right, but didn't number
Iowa,
3 in the SEC get humbled?
Minnesota.
Didn't Tennessee get humbled at Athens?
Tennessee, yeah, I guess so. But when you look at Tennessee, yes, they got humbled, but their version of getting humbled was a 27-13 loss to Georgia, the defending national champion. Penn State getting humbled is not just losing to Ohio State. They actually kept it close against Ohio State. It was that loss against Michigan that is going to do them in. Just getting obliterated by Michigan at home and not looking competitive at all in that game. So I think when you talk about Penn State, they're the Big Ten versus the SEC this year has had a certain level of parity at the top that you're not used to seeing, where you see you see 4 legitimate contenders in that conference, and the Big Ten kind of weeded itself out early when, as I said, Penn State was not able to even be competitive against Michigan.
And can we cancel the Big Ten West? Can we just cancel it? Just not play any more games?
Well, good news, guys. In 2 years, the Big Ten West will be
good. And were they the champions or legends before they renamed it to East and West?
Are you talking about the leaders and legends?
Oh, the leaders and legends. Oh, it's leaders and legends. It wasn't champions and legends, so never mind. But they're not leaders or legends in the West. These scenarios crack me up, Al, because you have 4 and 3 teams? So Purdue, Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota all have a chance to win the West and represent the West in the Big Ten championship against Ohio State or Michigan. And none of them have even a remote outside chance at beating either of those teams.
Well, here's the wild thing right now. If Iowa wins this weekend, all they would need to do would be to beat Nebraska at the end of the year, and they would need Michigan to beat Illinois on Saturday to get into the Big Ten title game. Because you look at Minnesota, Minnesota's at 4-3. They have to
so
beat
nasty.
Iowa and then Wisconsin, which is doable. So Minnesota has a realistic shot at this. Purdue, on the other hand, needs Iowa to lose a game. And they need to beat Northwestern and Indiana to end the season. Illinois, Illinois, the team that was in the driver's seat, 2 consecutive home losses, Michigan State and Purdue, and now they finish on the road against Michigan this week, then Northwestern next week. If they lose to Michigan this week, kiss it all goodbye.
Yeah.
You look at Illinois, 3 consecutive losses, falling right out of the Big Ten West race. Gabe, this reminds me of circa mid to mid 2000s, the Big 12 North.
Yep.
The Big
Colorado
12 North
won it one year and lost 70-3 in the Big 12 championship.
In
I remember.
Houston.
And that's Yep, in
It's a good
Houston against
comparison.
Vince Young in Texas, and that's what it feels like is going to happen this year to whoever is unlucky enough to win that division.
I need some Tums because my stomach I'm sick to my stomach right now. I need something.
Yeah, it's a little
down my
queasy.
stomach.
Alex, rapid fire, 3-part question here. Who gets the Nebraska job? Who's the next hottest seat in the Big Ten? And what coaches may be looking the Brian Kelly model? I know Brian Kelly wasn't in the Big Ten, but up there to look to get out of the North, to get to the South, maybe get to the SEC.
You know, that's an interesting one because at this point, the clear candidates aren't necessarily there because Brian Kelly, he stuck around for so long. It was like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? And finally, he pulled the trigger. And I know that there were antics and people point out the just cringeworthy recruiting videos, and they point out the fact that he was faking accents. But I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to be successful at LSU. Zero doubt because of, he's a good football coach. And it's interesting because I wondered.
And there's a lot of us that don't want that accent, and we can't help it, Alex.
The thing about Brian Kelly is, I wondered, like, culturally there was that question: is he going to fit in? And also stylistically too, because he had to build a program that hangs its hat on winning in the trenches and build somewhat of a developmental program at Notre Dame. So the question was, when he goes to LSU and you're expected to recruit at a high level, is that style going to transfer over? And of course it has.
Yeah, right.
I just don't like. You think about the Northern coaches right now, like the top level Midwest coaches, like Ryan Day. No, he's not.
PJ Fleck.
He's not. PJ Fleck. Yeah, but is PJ Fleck as good of a football coach as Brian Kelly? I just don't see it. As of yet, I have not seen that level of consistency from Brian Kelly from PJ Fleck, because you think about Brian Kelly, championship level for decades, going back to Cincinnati, going to Notre Dame. I know that they never won a national championship at Notre Dame, but they were in the college football playoff seemingly every other year. And then now going to LSU, like that, he's, no matter if people want to admit it or not, a top 5 or 10 coach in all of college football. And I'm trying to think just even of those candidates who would jump ship.
With where it's headed right now, the big game issues, do you think ever that a guy like James Franklin would jump back that direction? Obviously, it would have to be a substantial job because Penn State's one of the premier jobs in the country. But do you think with sort of where that's headed, I don't know if that fan base is fully engaged with him after how it's been through COVID and even this year losing the big games. Do you think he'd ever?
That's a great suggestion,
he'd ever do
Gabe.
that?
There's another one where we've been wondering for years now. Could he? Sure, absolutely.
He's a relatively high level coach at his peak.
The thing about him, he's a good coach and he's a great recruiter, and that would play. Now the question is where's his stock at? I never can keep track of where James Franklin's stock at, because James Franklin is one of those coaches where he's either on the brink of getting he's either on the brink of getting fired or he's going to be going to USC. Like that, remember that happened all in one year last year. where 6 games into the year, he's the hottest name in coaching. He's going to jump to USC. 5 weeks later, he's 7-7 in his last 14 games, and he's on the hot seat. I can never keep track with him. So, yes, he is definitely a coaching candidate that if a job opened up in the South or out West and there was mutual interest there, I think he would absolutely consider it, because I don't think he stayed at Penn State, but at the end of the day, it's been like a love-hate relationship with him because of what I just mentioned, and that wears on him. You can tell publicly sometimes he speaks about how maybe he doesn't feel as appreciated for what he's done at Penn State by the fans as he would hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to win big games though at that place to really get over the hump.
You do,
and
but
get that fan base on your side.
Yes, but you're in the Big Ten East, and there's Ohio State.
Yep,
right there.
And
good luck.
And Jim Harbaugh's Michigan, and Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he's done as much. Looking back, and I never was that guy, but looking back at the Paul Feinbaum, he should be fired after winning 9 to 10 games a year at the beginning of his tenure. That was utter foolishness. It really was. It really was
clickbait.
It was. Yeah. But Alex, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Alex.
Talk to you guys next week. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You got it, man. Be safe.
Alex Kuhn at AlexKuhn523 on the Twitter machine, KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Also, WBBM News Radio in Chicago, as he is the Bears studio producer. Let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the college football playoff rankings, and we'll talk about the scenario I brought up to Alex. Who's that fourth team as of right this second? That when we come back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
When you open a crisp, cold Bud Light, you know game day is here.
You owe me $5.
We mean every sound. Enjoy responsibly. 2022 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Biscuits and Jams is the best new restaurant in the Mid-South with the best food and the best events. Try the shrimp and crawfish Creole Benedict, named one of the best one-of-a-kind breakfast dishes by the Commercial Appeal. And be sure to be at Biscuits and Jams Thursday nights for karaoke and music bingo. Biscuits and Jams, homemade food made with local ingredients. Open 8 to 2 Tuesday through Friday and 9 to 3 Saturday and Sunday at 5806 Stage Road. Order online at biscuitsandjams.com. For the best food and the best events, Biscuits and Jams is simply the best.
Hey, Jim Rome here. If you want to experience the unmatched flavor of natural live fire grilling, then look no further than the Big Green Egg. Forget the pellets, the propane, the knockoffs. Roll with the best. An authentic Big Green Egg grill backed by a free lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. It's that good. Grill, roast, smoke, or bake. It is easy to light. It's simple to use. Shop online for free home delivery at BigGreenEgg.com. That's delivery to your door by a dealer in your community. Go to BigGreenEgg.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Every year, first responders are injured or killed by vehicle strikes while responding to emergency calls. When you see police, fire, or ambulance, slow down, yield, and move over. Faster response times can help save a life, including your own. Move over, Memphis. It's the law.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Open the door, sit in the seat, turn the key, and go.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brent Norsworthy.
So the college football playoff week 3, well, not week 3, the third week of them, week 12 rankings, have released top 10. 10 Utah, 9 Clemson, 8 Alabama, 7 USC, 6 LSU, 5 Tennessee, right outside the top 4. Undefeated TCU at 4, Michigan 3, Ohio State 2. They'll play here relatively soon. And 1, Georgia, no surprise there. UCF, of note, right there ahead of Tulane in that number 20 spot after beating them last week. So right now, UCF and Gus Malzahn would be the representative for the Group of 5 in the Cotton Bowl this year. Now, let's operate under this understanding because I think this is the best discussion that we can really come up with right now in Week 12. 3 of the 4 teams, as of right now, and it all depends on wins, losses, the whole 9 yards, are Georgia, the Big Ten winner, Michigan or OSU, and TCU. Let's just operate under those 3 teams as being 3 of the 4.
Agreed.
The 4th team comes down to 1 loss Tennessee, 1 loss USC, if they can go undefeated and win the Pac-12, and 1 loss Big Ten team, whether it be Ohio State or Michigan. Of those 3, who gets the nod?
Tell me the final score of Ohio State, Michigan. How bad does Ohio State defeat Michigan?
Let's say by 3-6, somewhere in that range. Not by a lot.
You got a strong Michigan case. I think Tennessee's better. And not just because I'm down here. You look at that body of work.
I think Tennessee's better than TCU.
I don't know that Tennessee fans could take another Michigan loss at the ballot box like they suffered with Charles Woodson in '97 for the Heisman over Peyton.
What's really tricky, in my opinion, is if Michigan beats Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State's immediately eliminated. I think you run into the same situation.
They're not. I think they're in.
I still think Ohio State's in, though.
Tennessee fans need to GoFundMe for me to go to Columbus and pull as hard as I can for Ohio State to splatter Michigan.
If Ohio State wins 52-10, this is all figured out. We're good. Tennessee's right in there. But I'm telling you, and even keep out 1 loss USC because the Pac-12's not. They have good ranked teams at the top. I don't think they're strong enough to really compete with Tennessee on a resume-for-resume basis. That's just, you just look at it. I mean, the wins over LSU,
I don't either. I think
Bama,
that's another reason why Josh Heupel is going to run the score up the next 2 games.
And he did last week against Mizzou. Scored a touchdown when he didn't need to. And granted, they had their 2s in, and he explained it, but they got to 66. And these last 2 weeks should be relatively easy, even if they're on the road. But win over Florida when they're ranked. Win over Pitt when they're ranked. Win over Bama when they were number 3. I mean,
win
over Kentucky. Win at Baton Rouge 40-13. Their resume is better than even a team like TCU. Even without a loss, it's better than what TCU has on their schedule. And I know what Michigan has been, and I know that Michigan has been solid in all their games. They didn't have much to play, and you can only play what's on your schedule. But strength of schedule and strength of record has to come into this, and Tennessee is way up there when it comes to both of those categories.
How much cleaner / messier does it get if TCU gets beat?
I think it gets a little bit cleaner because then you could fit in Michigan and Tennessee and not have to worry about much else, right? 2
Big Ten, 2 SEC. There would be some complaining, but would it really be legit? I mean, couldn't you say, you watch college football, you know who's better?
Yeah, I think it would be insane, though. Grand scheme of just we're talking about Tennessee. I think it would be insanity if they got left out with one loss and their one loss was to Georgia on the road. That's not even remotely fair or reasonable. Now, we know that the committee can make weird mistakes and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, that would be hard. That'd be a hard pill to swallow for everybody.
The Titanic is LSU winning the SEC championship game.
We say, okay, Michigan beats Ohio State. Let's do that scenario. Michigan beats Ohio State. You think Ohio State's still in? My question would be there. My question would be still wins. What are their wins? What resume? If we're talking Ohio State versus Tennessee, what wins? What resume points can you really build the case for Ohio State on? Maybe Notre Dame at the beginning of the year and Penn State. Outside of that, what else?
And the margins.
Yes. Okay, that's fair. Yes, game control. I put my air quotes here. Game control. But Tennessee getting left out after, just the thought of Tennessee getting left out.
It would be more than they could bear.
Yeah.
For that to happen 25 years after Charles Woodson won the Heisman over Peyton, it would be more than they could bear.
Yeah.
It could be an invasion from Tennessee people heading to Michigan.
That's gnarly.
Musket guns in hand.
That's gnarly. Now, we are done with hour number 1. Hour number 2 is on the way, and we have some college football playoff to discuss, college football in general to discuss at the top of the second hour with our guy Barrett Jones.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, I want to talk about our seasoning and sauce today. Our sauce is a great blend of sweet, mustard, and vinegar. It's good on so many items other than barbecue. It's good on pizza. People use it in lieu of ketchup. But our seasoning is the original dry rub, created by my father using a mixture of Greek and Cajun spices. People think our sauce and seasoning are good just during the grilling season. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's good year-round. Our seasoning is good on fish, chicken, deviled eggs, corn on the cob, French fries. People even put a dash in a Bloody Mary. To get a complete list of all of our recipes using our products, go to hogsfly.com, click recipes, and you'll see 50 wonderful items and dishes. And Brett, our sauce and seasoning is available at most grocery stores, and if they don't have it, please remind your grocer to stock it. And our slaw is also available at most Kroger stores.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
O'Reilly. Cleaning your fuel system can help your engine run better and improve gas mileage. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a bottle of Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner on sale now. Buy one, get one free, plus double O Rewards points. Get more fuel-saving tips from the professional parts people at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'Reilly.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Get holiday ready at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike during our Black Friday sales event. You ready for a new ride but can't seem to find just what you're looking for? No worries. Stop by, pick your ride, and Gossett will get it ordered just for you. No hassles, no extra charges, no market adjustments. Pay no more than MSRP at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Plus, keep your money in your pocket during the holidays and get no payments for 90 days on select models. And 2022 Renegade Sport 4x4, we Gossett $399 a month or buy it for $29,990. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike. Or shop online 24/7, 365 at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Renegade NPN 79312, MSRP 31980. Must finance through Chrysler Capital. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Dad, come on, you're going to fall in the barbecue.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Hour 2 of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats is here. I'm Gabe, he's Stats, and joining us via the phone line is our All-American, Barrett Jones, at Barrett A. Jones on Twitter, All-American at Alabama, graduate of ECS, also played in the NFL for some years. Barrett, how are you?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Doing well.
Doing well, Barrett. Now, Barrett, I looked at my game notes last Saturday, and the official Alabama game notes said sideline reporter Barrett Jones. Were you there?
I was not. I'm sorry. No, I didn't. The game notes were incorrect.
Well, I got my binoculars out, couldn't find you, realized after you telling us last week you were going to write it out at home, and figured out you weren't there, and you missed a really, I know you watched it, but it was a good game. Ole Miss played well. It just wasn't enough, Barrett.
No, there's no doubt. Well, first of all, I just, the reason to be honest with you, and I was very honest with Josh Maxson. You'll think this is funny. I just said, Josh, it's 42 degrees, man. I don't do this for a living anymore. Like right. I don't really want to. I don't know if I want to do that bad. So, and that was the high. So when the sun went down, I bet it was even colder than that.
It was.
So yeah, I was like, I think I'm just gonna watch this from home. It's good not to have this as a career anymore, and they had another guy that could do it. So anyway. It was a good game, and I thought in a lot of ways, Ole Miss outplayed Alabama at different times, and obviously they outgained them by a significant amount. And I thought Alabama hung in there, and that fumble obviously at the end of the first half was enormous because it felt like Ole Miss had a chance to kind of run away with it at that time. So yeah, it was a good game. Two pretty evenly matched teams, I thought. Going at it, and Alabama finally able to get a huge road win.
I'm not talking about specifically the win at Ole Miss, but generally speaking this year. Before last week, Alabama, I think, was 11th in yards per carry on the ground. And again, I'm going to be a run-the-ball guy. I'm an O-lineman. You're an O-lineman. You get it. But they were 11th in yards per carry in the country, but they were 88th in attempts. That seems very bizarre. Have you had some when you talk about play calling for Alabama this year, do you think that there's been and obviously you have Bryce Young back there, do you think that there's been an unnecessary shift away from that run game at times?
It's a good question. It's something I've thought a lot about. I do think that some of the run stats are a little bit deceiving for Alabama because I've seen those at one point midway through the year. They led the nation in yards per carry, which was just really odd. I think there was a lot of big plays early on. It was a big run Texas game. There was several 3 70-yard-plus runs in the Arkansas game because, the run game, just watching Alabama, has not been that consistently good. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, I do think that there needs to be more balance. I thought that the game plan in the second half, and it was necessitated by the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs was injured. But I thought that bringing McClellan in, a little bit more powerful guy, and running the ball more, that actually was pretty effective for Alabama. So I do think that that's been one of the major struggles for this team all year. They have no identity, and that's really odd for me to watch. Is they don't know who they are offensively. They have, they have short passing team. They're certainly not a deep passing team. Or do they run the ball? They don't really know, and that's really weird because for a long time Alabama's had a pretty defined identity, whether it was explosive plays when Tua and Mac Jones were there, or whether it was running the football in the years before that, and even certain types of plays that they ran a lot.
Right.
This team doesn't really have that, so maybe that helped them find their footing. Certainly, it definitely gives you confidence anytime you beat a top 12 team on the road. It was an enormous win, and maybe they'll rebound. I thought the focus, energy, intensity was pretty good. I think that people that are I'm not really buying that Alabama's a lot better than that. I guess I still haven't seen a game this year where they've come out and just were the team everyone thought they were going to be. Like I think that's kind of who they are. Like I thought they actually played pretty well considering the team they have this year.
Barrett, this year in the SEC, I keep it every game, I keep it every year, and the rushing number has never lost to the passing number. This year in games involving the SEC, if you win the rushing battle, you're at 76% win rate. If you win the passing battle, you're at 66%. I promise 75% every year on opening day, and also double down that rushing will always beat passing, even in this passing era, and it's going to hold up this year as well.
Well, that's a good stat there, but I didn't know that one. That's I guess that's why they call you stats, huh? You're coming out with stats
and it worked,
that other people hadn't even heard. You're inventing stats. I love that.
It works every year. It works every year. It'll work in the bowl games, and it still works in the NFL at playoff time. It is not the determinant it once was in the NFL because we know how pass happy the NFL's been. You played in the NFL. We talked about the cold weather Saturday. What's the coldest game you ever played in? Did you ever go to one of those cold weather Buffalo, Green Bay games?
I really never did. I never had one that was just really cold. I mean, I had several that were cold. Probably some games when I was with the Bears briefly that were really cold, the Eagles.
Philadelphia.
There wasn't one that just stood out that was just like absolutely freezing. We had a few. Chicago, to me, was the coldest place I ever played. Something about the wind there just chills you to the bone. I guess that's why they call it the Windy City.
Right there on the lake, too.
Yeah, right there on Lake Michigan. Like that was, and we had a blizzard one time during practice that I had never seen quite anything like it. I was panicking. Everyone else was like, "Yeah, this is what happens up here." So, I never really played in any cold weather games college wise. I mean, we had some that were in the 40s and 30s, but nothing that dramatic. And by the way, I never wore sleeves, Gabe. I would never do that.
Oh, so, yeah, I hear you.
I know you
I
wouldn't
respect
either.
It. I didn't wear sleeves. The most I would do is the quarter sleeve in general, or I don't know. In high school, I wore the half sleeve, basically the one down to the elbow. But
that's a little disappointing, honestly.
In college, I didn't.
But that's in St. Louis, though, in high school.
To be fair, I played some pretty cold weather games, but in college I stayed away. I learned the rule. And by the way, fun fact: it's not called the Windy City because of the wind. It's called the Windy City because the politicians blow hot air. That's why. Right. Yes.
Bear, do you think Alabama? Do you think anybody in the Alabama building, I know the fans do, and I know the talk shows do, and the message boards do, and the SEC Network does, in the Alabama football building, in the Mal Moore building, do you think anybody in there cares who Auburn hires as head coach?
Yeah, I think probably some people like, the athletic director type people, they care a little bit. But in general, that's probably about it. I mean, definitely not the players.
All right, let's get a little more contained in the office. In that big corner office, you think he cares?
No, he definitely doesn't care. This is really interesting hire to me, Auburn. Auburn is a funny case study, and I always have a hard time talking about Auburn because every time I talk about them, people think I'm, just biased. But, Auburn has such a range where historically you look at them, and they're kind of more of a middle-of-the-tier SEC team, but then they have these peaks that where they kind of go so above and beyond their normal tier. And because of that, I think there's, kind of been an expectation created that really objectively is a little bit tough, considering you're the, smaller school in the state there. I mean, probably funding wise and everything. And so that's to me is a tough deal. So I'm going to be very interested to see who they get. Like Lane Kiffin obviously is a name going out there, and Brett, you probably talked about this, but I don't know if Lane Kiffin wants to make that move. That's interesting. I just wonder kind of in a coach's mind exactly where Auburn is in that hierarchy. Hugh Freeze is a name that's been out there for a while. I wonder if he'll finally get a shot. He seems like he's raring and ready to go. And so I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to me. Brian Harsin was the guy where we all were sort of scratching our heads saying, huh?
Yeah. Lincoln Riley?
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know who they're going to get. It's going to be really interesting to see kind of the direction they head.
And Barrett, you probably won't say it, but I'm going to say it. I feel like behind the scenes they have to have a little bit more patience and a little bit more togetherness behind the scenes, whether it's boosters, the higher-ups in the athletic department. They need to be able to sit there and deal with at least a couple of years of maybe not that 9-3, 10-2 success. And
amnesia. They need to quit worrying about Alabama.
I know that the course had probably run itself with Gus Malzahn, but Gus Malzahn, for the most part, got them to that high you're talking about, and at the same time was probably 8-4, 9-3 every single year. I know it had run its course, and I know maybe times changed and they needed to move on, but I thought Gus Malzahn was pretty reasonable with his returns.
Well, it's funny. I've talked to several Auburn fans that have, said, like, we need a guy out there who's a little bit different, has an offensive system that he believes in, kind of a way we can win and something we can stick to and believe in, a guy who's, pretty high character. And I'm like, didn't you just have that guy? Wasn't he there for a guy who can beat Bama? I'm like, yeah, that was Gus Malzahn. Y'all fired him. So, yeah, I'm with you. I thought that was a little hasty. It definitely seems, and I'm not into all the politics and everything of all these college football programs, but it was a terrible situation for Brian Harsin this year. I mean, he was playing with a half deck. The fact that anytime there's rumors in the off season you're going to get fired. I mean, does that ever end well? Everyone knew that was going to end.
And they were trying to leak things to make him fired with cause. I mean, let's just get the buyout a little lower, I guess. That was he was a sitting duck, and that was a terrible spot for him, and that just puts you in a bad spot in recruiting and everything. So I feel bad for him in that regard. And that definitely, no matter what you're going to do, that was a bad move. I think back to if you're going to do something like that, one of the all-time surprises to me, completely out of left field, never heard it from any of my people, my sources, and I've actually talked to the athletic director, Chris Del Conte, about this, the Texas athletic director, where out of nowhere, boom, Stark is hired. That's the way to do it, where there's not all these rumors, nothing going on, and then you just the cycle seems like it's over, and boom, Steve Sarkisian's announced the head coach. For whatever reason, a lot of people weren't able to do that. I don't know if it's because boosters, and I have no idea all the problems these athletic directors deal with. I'm sure they'd all love to do it that way. Agents, boosters, there's all kind of people that have different agendas that leak things to the media. But if you could pull it off like that, where all of a sudden one day you wake up and you're like, wow, we just hired Steve Sarkisian out of nowhere. That's the way you want to do it, because in this day and age, once you start leaking stuff and people start having long extended questions about coaches, it's pretty much over. You can stick a fork in them.
What do you think prospective coaches, after they talk the money, after they talk the number of assistant coaches and analysts and the building and hot tubs and indoor workout, after we get past all that, what do you think a question a prospective coach should ask the hiring person at these places? What should they ask? Just how committed are you? What's the big thing they should ask?
Yeah, I mean, I think they want, alignment with the administration, make sure everybody's on the same page with the vision of what they're trying to accomplish. I think they should ask, I don't know how you ask this question exactly, but if I need something, am I going to get it from you? Because I think you got to let a coach work a little bit. Obviously, you can't just let everybody have free reign, but you got to give a guy a chance to build the culture the way he wants it, to bring people in, and that takes some time. That doesn't happen overnight. So, I think those are some of the questions I'd ask. And hiring, and do I have full autonomy with who I want to hire, and those kind of things. Obviously, the financial questions. The agents have got pretty good at that part. The buyouts of these deals. They've gotten pretty good at getting those buyouts up. So even if they do want to fire them, they got to pay these guys a bunch of money just to go sit on the street.
Mm-hmm. Third week of the college football playoff rankings released. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee right there on the outside. Just in general with Tennessee, Brett and I just had a little bit of a discussion about this. Even with that one loss, let's say they finished the year, South Carolina and Vandy to end the year. They should be able to, even on the road, handle those pretty easily. Even if...
don't sleep on the Doors. They have a better record than Texas A&M.
No, it's a good point. That's a good point. Don't they have the same amount of conference wins, too?
Yes.
One? Yes, same amount of conference wins.
They have 4 wins, and the Aggies have 3. So all those recruits Jimbo brought in, all that talking he did in the offseason really paying off.
Well, but also it may pay off because you may get an $85 million payday here soon. But regardless, even if
they won't. They can't fire him. No chance. So keep going.
Let's
I agree.
We'll talk about that in a second. Let's rule out Michigan and Ohio. Let's just one of Michigan and Ohio State's in. Should Tennessee be in the college football playoff even after winning these last 2 games, 1 loss? No doubt. Should they be in?
I mean, look, I hate to say this because Tennessee fans, if I'm wrong, please have mercy on me. But Tennessee feels like a lock right now to me, honestly. Yep. I mean, I don't, especially if Ohio State wins, there's no way they're going to put Michigan in with that late of a loss and with the schedule they had. That's the big thing with Michigan. They had just an embarrassing schedule. I mean, one of the weakest schedules in college football. So there's no way Michigan will be in over Tennessee. Maybe conceivably Ohio State, if they lose by 1 point or something, could they? But, I mean, as long as Tennessee takes care of business, I think they're in a tremendous spot. And, by the way, I don't think there's any guarantee that TCU wins these last couple games either. So, I think Tennessee – and you know what? I have a hunch, and they always say this is not a factor, yada, yada. But I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say I have a feeling they're going to find a way to get Tennessee at 3 because I don't think they want to see that rematch first round. So just keep an eye out for them to find a way to get Tennessee at 3 so they can play Ohio State, Georgia can play whoever, and that I would love to watch an Ohio State-Tennessee game. That, to me, sounds like great football right there.
I agree with you. I think it's pretty much a lock, especially if Tennessee loses, definitely a lock. You just wonder about that outside chance of Michigan beating Ohio State. What does the committee think about Ohio State and their game control or whatever the hell metric they would use at that point? We'll see what happens with that. Now, you mentioned Jimbo. You don't think there's any chance he gets fired this year, even at 3-7 with the number 1 recruiting class? Everybody's sort of dropping like flies. He's had to suspend some true freshmen.
No, he's recruiting too well. They could make him hire an offensive coordinator who actually calls plays, but that to me is the max that would happen. I just can't see it. I can't see it played out that way. But I could definitely be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong many times before, but it's hard for me to imagine a scenario where you fire a guy who you paid that much money to and who's still recruiting. That's the thing. If in this day and age, if you're losing and you're not recruiting, in fact, sometimes even if you're winning okay and you're not recruiting, they'll fire you. I mean, that's kind of what happened to Gus Malzahn, honestly. But the recruiting is so important. It leads to wins. People always love to talk about yada, yada. Oh, J.J. Watt was a 2-star, all this stuff. Look, any metric you go by, recruiting is probably the most important thing for a program. I hate to say it. You got to recruit if you want to win national championship. Every national champion, I think, has had a top 5 recruiting class or something like that within the 3 or 4 years of when they've won the national championship. So you got to recruit at a high level, and they're doing that. Maybe they find there's definitely some problems down there. They got to work on culture. I don't care. I know that they're struggling at quarterback, but it's more than just that. I mean, the defense hasn't been what they've expected this year, but I think they'll give them at least one more year. See if this Connor Weichman kid or whatever can lead them into the future next year. And they've got some good pieces. They can turn it around pretty quick if they just get a little spark of belief.
But they can afford that $85 million. They'll tell you about it, too. They'll tell you they can afford that $85 million.
Oh, yeah. A&M is the greatest school of all time that's never actually accomplished anything.
Yes.
So, yes.
100%.
They have the historical resume of, like, South Carolina, but they just have way deeper pocketbooks.
Yep, no question. Barrett, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Barrett. Barrett Jones with us every week. That was outstanding. At All-Star Chevrolet, it is not often they get the chance to tell each and every customer how thankful they are for them. And that this month, instead of telling you about all the vehicles and all the deals, they asked me to say thank you. Thank you very much to all you customers out there and prospective customers. Whether you bought from All-Star or not, they want everyone to feel at home at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, and you will. If you want something new to drive, maybe a Silverado or Tahoe, or just need to sell your car, call or go by and see Jeff or Kevin. If you need service before heading out for holiday trips, call and ask for Chance or Jeff in the service department. I promise you, both Chance and Jeff are magicians. They'll get you in and out quickly. Or go to allstarautogroup.com. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, Mount Moriah, not Bartlett or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. First exit into Mississippi off Highway 78, Kraft Goodman Road. You're there. Find new fun for the holidays. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holiday season from everyone at All-Star Chevrolet to you.
Now, let me pose this since I posed it, and I think it's an interesting take there coming from Barrett. Do you think there's no chance he gets fired after this year? And he's staring right down the barrel of a 4-8 season.
I think close to zero. I don't go 0 or 100 on anything, but I'll go close to 0. If for no other reason, Ross didn't hire him. So
right.
I think they got to ride it out one more year. Now, for Ross Bjork's sake, one more year, that could be full house cleaning this time next year.
That's the thing you run into. You don't, if you're an athletic director, you don't want to stick with a guy who's not going to give you success. And something tells me behind the scenes there's a lot of things that are too far gone about this program right this second.
Gabe, I loved your question to Alex about the prospect, just the prospect of. You didn't say he's leaving, just kind of in that Brian Kelly want to get back to the South or get to the South for James Franklin. I just wonder, and I said this morning with Dave, how often do we see these coaching searches? And when we first hear they're open, that big aircraft carrier name never pans out. It always ends up being kind of something different. Remember when people thought Mel Tucker was going to get the LSU job? Mel Tucker. And Brian Kelly ends up getting it. James Franklin on a list. And what about this? What about at Oklahoma? Do you think at Oklahoma they're having those meetings right now of, we can't limp into the SEC. We got to decide now if this guy's got it. There's a reason why nobody ever hired him. We may be seeing it playing out.
Yeah, I also think that Brent Venables just used every chance that other teams took to try to hire him as a way to re-up his contract, which he did every single time. With James Franklin, it really is, if we're being honest, very similar without the playoff exposure, because Penn State has not been in the college football playoff. Without that, it's very similar to what we saw with Brian Kelly. Success at a high level at a big school, but you're not winning recruiting battles over Ohio State and Michigan. You're not necessarily going to get to the top of college football at Penn State right at this moment. So I think there's a little bit of a similarity we can draw between those two. That's sort of the one that makes sense the most to me, because I don't think Jim Harbaugh is going anywhere. And maybe NFL, if anything, in a few years. I don't think Ryan Day is going anywhere. Maybe NFL in a few years. that third spot, and he's consistently in that third spot, still high level, still top 15, top 10 at times, is James Franklin. And it's curious. It's a curious thought.
That's
because
good stuff.
I know that those fans are disenchanted to a certain extent. They like the constant 9-win seasons, but they don't like not getting over the hump. And that's sort of kind of what Notre Dame ran into with Brian Kelly, and what Brian Kelly ran into with Notre Dame, grand scheme of things.
He said it.
You're not able to win recruiting battles with the top teams in the country, just like James Franklin can't win those recruiting battles in his own conference with Ohio State and Michigan. So we'll see what happens. Now, we're going to go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we're going to switch gears. Got to talk about this Grizzlies versus Pelicans game. Grizzlies lose 113-102, and Charles Barkley makes some comments on Ja that we will have to address on the other side. Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fivesh, owner of Fivesh Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hey, Jim Rome here. If you want to experience the unmatched flavor of natural live fire grilling, then look no further than the Big Green Egg. Forget the pellets, the propane, the knockoffs. Roll with the best. An authentic Big Green Egg grill backed by a free lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. It's that good. Grill, roast, smoke, or bake. It is easy to light. It's simple to use. Shop online for free home delivery at biggreenegg.com. That's delivery to your door by a dealer in your community. Go to biggreenegg.com.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
It's the year-end sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi, and have we got a deal for you? Get power, safety, and bold style with 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $329 a month or $25,345. And take your pick at Gossett Mitsubishi, 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander or 2023 Eclipse Cross. We Gossett at $379 a month, or you'll find 1.9 for 36 months available. And if you're looking for peace of mind in your new ride, get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Shop Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online anytime at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Sport 75 months at 5.44 APR. Outlander and Eclipse 72 months at 4.90. All 500 military rebates. Sport NU 020537. MSRP 26095. Outlander PC 009630. MSRP 296. Eclipse PC 006400. MSRP 28785. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22. Dealer stock only.
Hi, this is Greg Gaston for QC Kinetics. Remember the guy for the Hair Club of Men who would say, I'm not just the president, but I'm a client. Well, I'm not just a spokesman, but I'm a client of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatments with advanced regenerative medicine. It's a remedy for all the joint pain you're dealing with in the hips, shoulder, elbows, wherever it may be. Pain from injury or arthritis. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue and do so without surgery, drugs, or downtime. And in my business, I can't afford downtime. QC Kinetics is also an alternative way for those dealing with pain caused by injury like a torn meniscus or rotator cuff injury, which is what I'm dealing with. So don't keep living with that pain. Do what I'm doing, getting relief from QC Kinetics. Call for a free consultation today. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
When you open a crisp, cold Bud Light, you know game day is here.
Touchdown! You owe me $5.
We mean every sound. Enjoy responsibly. 2022 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
How do you want that cooked? Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling, Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe, he's Stats. Now, before we transition away from college football, I have a couple of texts. We're going to talk some Grizzlies Pels here in just a moment. We have a couple of interesting questions and texts that are being asked. Somebody says, what is the Ohio State good win that gets them over the hump against Tennessee? I personally, let me state what I have to state. This is obviously in the thought process of if Michigan were to beat Ohio State, why would Ohio State get over? I want to state my opinion very clearly here. I think Tennessee is in. I think they should be in. They have a better resume than Ohio State or Michigan. But I also think that when you look at a committee like this, the College Football Playoff, Ohio State has won in the College Football Playoff. The Ohio State University, #developed here. Those are the reasons that it becomes complicated. Do I think resume to resume, it's close? No, I don't think it is. But I do think that Ohio State, there is an innate feeling that they should be in based on where they were preseason, where they are now. And they're the number 2 team in the country right now. How far do they fall off with a loss to Michigan if they do potentially lose to Michigan? That's my question, right? You just got to see where these things play out before we make assumptions.
I don't think Vegas can make the point spread big enough for me not to take Tennessee against South Carolina and against Vanderbilt as my college football lock of the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. They should win by 100, right? They're going to try to leave no doubt.
He's going to try to.
And let me again state it. I think
he
Tennessee
should.
I think I'm right with Barrett in the fact that I think Tennessee should be a lock. Should be. But that should be. That's thought. That's not reality yet. Somebody else says, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Gabe. Real quick. Rank the SEC teams for me. Give me your top 4 or 5 in SEC right now.
Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, Bama. Right there.
That's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right off the top of the head. Then probably Ole Miss.
Okay.
What about you? You pretty similar there?
Same. I mean, yeah. I think that's simple.
Yeah. And I think Tennessee being in should be relatively simple with the resume they've put out there.
And didn't all of it play out on the field?
Yep. All of that. Yes, there's a reason I have
really
LSU.
Unique, isn't it?
There's a reason I have LSU over Bama, right? Like
yeah.
It's pretty clear. And why I have LSU under Tennessee and why Tennessee's under Georgia. It was on the field. It's pretty clear.
And I said this morning with Dave, and I've said it a couple of times this week. They got to finish it out first, and there's no guarantee. Ole Miss can lose these last 2 easily. They can win the last 2, not easily, but they can win the last 2. 10-2 in SEC 5. Hey, might finish 8th or 9th in the country in the final balloting and be 5th in the SEC.
That's something.
Take a ride on this.
Yeah. Another text in here. But Tennessee lost to the number 1 team in the nation. Michigan or Ohio State will lose to either the number 2 or the number 3 team in the nation. Why would either of those teams get in over Tennessee? I don't think Michigan would get in over Tennessee if all things were equal. I just have when it comes to the committee and I'll say it again, I'll state it. I think Tennessee should be in. I think they should be a lock if they win these last 2 games. But Ohio State just carries a different tenor when you bring up that name.
It does.
That's it. That's the only reason I think it'd be a little bit trickier. Resume to resume, I don't think it's close, but it's the Ohio State University. So we'll just see how it all works out. Again, no complaints till next week. No complaints till next week. Just discussion. So,
just the news.
Yes,
That's
exactly. Now, Grizzlies last night lose to the Pelicans 113-102. They dropped to 9-6. No Bane is an issue. Let's be honest about it. You need the three-point shooting. You need for Ja when he dishes the ball out, sort of on those drive and kicks. You need somebody to be able to finish those. They didn't really have that last night. They didn't shoot well, even slightly. They were 9 for 35. The Pelicans shot 18 for 38. You have no chance to win if you get doubled up at the three-point line in the NBA. I will repeat it again. You have no chance to win if you get doubled up at the three-point line in the NBA. Just not going to happen. But the truth of the matter is, Jaren, his return game picked up where he left off, 5 blocks, but offensively there was some rust, and Dillon Brooks had a Dillon Brooks game. That's why you lose. Weren't able to keep up offensively.
2-game losing streak now. They've had one other 2-game losing streak, that Utah thing, the back-to-back out in Salt Lake City, back-to-back games over a Saturday and a Monday. And now I don't think there's any jeopardy of a 3-gamer with Oklahoma City coming into FedEx Forum Friday night. This team just needs run together and to buy a little more time until finally it's made whole.
It's pretty simple if you just look at the box score where they lost this game. 3-point line, you can't get doubled up at the 3-point line in the NBA if you want to win a game. That's number one rule. You also can't have Jaren and Dillon go 9 for 32 from the field and 2 for 16 from 3 and win a game.
To a really good team, and like that atmosphere at Chaffetz in St. Louis, that last night at Smoothie King's looked like it's finally catching hold and ready to be excited about basketball in New Orleans, which has always had a tough go regardless of the league.
All of these things will be fixed when you get Desmond Bane back in the lineup and when you get Zaire Williams back in the lineup. I think that I got to preface it by saying that. The one thing that concerned me from last night, the one big thing that was just sort of glaring for me, now outside of the shooting, because I think night to night you're going to get better shooting nights from Dillon and Jaren. It's very clear. But the bench. With these injuries, the bench is short, Brett. I mean, it is not very good. Brandon Clark and Tyus are great. Santi's fine. But, you're playing 4 guys, one of them David Roddy, who hasn't shown you much. They're just not deep right this second.
Yeah, hadn't been a great bench game lately. Kind of that knockaway player. And usually the Grizzlies kind of do that by committee, and lately it's been committeeless.
And we knew that, okay, Kyle Anderson out the door, DeAnthony Melton out the door. You're going to have to develop some guys, but you're seeing early season. You have to try to bring along Jake LaRavia, and you have to try to bring along David Roddy, and that's not going to be a.
Are we missing either of those? Do you long for the good old days of Slow-Mo or
I think
D-Melt?
I think for a game like last night, more Melton.
Mr. Do Something?
Well, I think more Melton is missed than Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson, okay, I like.
And this was kind of the do something time of year for him. He'd do a lot in November and December.
Yeah, and when guys are out, he could step up and be another offensive piece, and he could get hot from the 3-point line some nights. Some nights he'd be cold, but he's a guy who last night I think they would have been helpful. But if you look at that bench, the bench back and forth last night, because the Pelicans are a relatively deep team, even though Zion Williamson wasn't on the floor. Everyone on the Grizz bench was in the minus. Tyus was a minus 17. In the Pels bench, everybody was in the positive. Nance plus 18, who had a great night last night because Steven Adams wasn't on the floor the entire time. They had no paint presence for the
middle was open.
Yeah, he was just lob, drive, getting to the rim, had a couple of threes. Alvarado was plus 15. He helped. But the bench discrepancy was massive last night as well. Assist battle. That's another thing that we would probably need to get to when we talk about this Charles Barkley quote. But the assist battle, Pelicans won that 31-16. And granted, there was a lot of blown assists, a lot of missed shots.
Are we going to talk about Ja's on-the-ball defense?
It's not great. That's something that.
And it's not his calling card.
Brett,
you can live with it.
Here's the question though: Do we ever expect it to be passable? Really? Is that something that we
a little better?
Maybe, but
a little better on the ball defense, a little better free throw percentage, and that is looking for something to complain about.
Yes, I thought Ja was sensational last night offensively, though. I thought he was great. Maybe a little bit more spreading of the ball around as that game got into the later stages in that second half. But offensively, I don't think we should ever count on him being able to stay in front of good guards on another team. Him trying to guard a guy like C.J. McCollum or trying to guard a guy like Herb Jones even. Like he struggled with Pat Beverly last year in the Timberwolves series. He's not. And he's never
how many
really grow there.
Of all these great point guards, how many are great on the ball defenders?
It's a great question. That's a great question.
You almost that's baked in the cake to sacrifice it.
But CP3's more.
But he's 47 years old.
I also think you could learn something from CP3 because I don't know if he can at times be a traffic cone. People can get around him easily, but he's opportunistic. He always is up there, top 5 in
with
steals,
the hands,
right? Trying to get knockaways, that type of thing. And I think John Morant can learn from somebody like that. But I just don't feel like that is a point of emphasis that. Really is
nobody's paying to go watch those guys play defense.
Right, yeah, but at the same time, you do want it to be better. But John Morant's I think he is who he is on the defensive end,
which I love.
If you get opportunistic steals, which he does sometimes, take them. But the one last night, the IQ play that he made on the inbounds to Larry Nance, jumped up, got a fast break. I mean, that's the type of stuff you want from him. But on ball, he's a traffic cone. He's not going to help you in regards to that. C.J. McCollum is kind of a Grizzlies killer, too. Now, Charles Barkley, at halftime, was talking about John Morant, or was it postgame? Regardless, he was talking about John Morant on Inside the NBA, and he had a little bit of criticism to hand out. This is what he had to say.
But the next evolution for Ja is he got to learn to make the players around him better. Now, when you're a great player, you can get your shot anytime you want to. But to take that next step.
You don't think he makes them better?
I'm saying the players around him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think he's added that to his game yet. Sometimes when you make a play, you got to be thinking to yourself, I can go around this guy, but I need to get this guy going.
Here's what I have to say about that. I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb.
It sounded a little rehearsed.
It's dumb. I don't necessarily think it's completely brain dead. There are nights that I think Ja is so used to carrying the load offensively and scoring that he puts his head down, doesn't look to create for others. And last night, other guys around him have to be better, in my opinion. They have to finish some of those assists, and that would encourage him to get everybody more involved. But there's some nights where he does get entrenched in scoring the basketball a little too much. But I do think 75% of the time he's a 7 assists per night guy. He'll get around that 9, 10, 11 assist mark consistently, and he's still 23. He's still trying to add his IQ as the years go along.
I want Bryant, jump in here. I want you guys' opinion. I want the text line's opinion on this. 901-360-8255. So, but Barkley's never going to retreat from this. He's going to dig in on this. The next layer of this, the next place to go right now, not getting other involved. The only place to go from this, he's never going to, hey, Kenny, I was wrong. Hey, Shaq, I was wrong. The next place to go, how long before Barkley breaks out, he's selfish?
Who knows? Who knows? But again, I think that would be okay. I said what
playoff
he said,
exit. That's when.
I said what he said. What last night was dumb, not brain dead. I think that would be a brain dead thought. I think that would be completely brain dead.
Gabe, respectfully, I yield more to this first layer. This first tier is brain dead. The next is pure ludicrous.
Yes,
but he'll go there, and he'll go there at the playoff exit. He'll go there on Gone Fishing Night.
The reason it is so dumb.
Get ready for it.
Yes, I think so. The reason it's so dumb, though, is one, Ja's IQ and his vision are some of the best in the NBA. And I don't know, like, if you just watch him night to night, you'd see that. If you watch the games that aren't nationally televised, Charles, you'd see what he can do in facilitating for a team. He has nearly 7 assists per game. The other part of this,
you don't think Chuck's got league pass? You don't?
Yeah, well, he probably does. He doesn't use it. The other part of this that really doesn't
I found the Tiger game last night.
CBS Sportsnet.
Yeah.
But the other part of this with Ja that doesn't jive with me, you say, okay, the criticism is he's got to learn to make the players around him better. Have you looked at what the Grizzlies were before he got here and what they are now? The culture that he's instilled and created?
Yeah, this is brain dead. We've already gotten there.
And the entire franchise is better because of him. I that's the part of it that's just like, dude, do you even bother watching them night to night or seeing the arc?
The line sounded rehearsed to me. I can't prove it, but I think they test marketed in the back and said, let's go with this.
Yeah. And it's making its rounds.
I was about to say, it did what it was supposed to do. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey.
But we took it hook, line, and sinker, didn't we?
But listen, again, I think there's parts of it where some nights Ja will put his head down, turn the ball over a lot, and not really look to get everybody involved because he's so used to carrying
the quarterback, though.
That's life. Everybody has those games. LeBron James has those games. Kevin Durant has those games, which we'll talk about in a second. Actually, let's go ahead and get to a break on that note as Kevin Durant and the Nets drop a nasty 153-121 to the Kings last night, and he didn't hold any punches. Be right back on Sports Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai, state-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Barton's has been your hometown building supply store since 1885, offering local delivery. Now Barton's offers in-stock utility trailers, a great option for contractors and frequent DIYers on tight schedules. Available in single and tandem axle options, these 6-foot, 4-inch by 12-foot, 16-foot, and 18-foot trailers are made in Northeast Arkansas and include 15-inch tires and wood floor construction. Visit your West Memphis Barton's at 215 West Broadway to check out these quality in-stock trailer options.
Buying a home? Rocket Mortgage will cover 1% of your rate for the first year at no cost to you with Inflation Buster. That's more road trips, more front row seats. Plus, if rates drop within 3 years of your home purchase, you'll get exclusive savings when you refinance with Rate Drop Advantage. Save when you buy today and refinance tomorrow. Call 833-7ROCKET today or visit inflationbuster.com to start saving.
For fees covered, rate like date requirements and other terms and conditions, visit inflationbuster.com. Call 1-833-7ROCKET. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Let's say you need a new car, so you go to a dealer, right? Wrong. You need to go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales. Why? Because why limit yourself to just one kind of car when you can choose from all kinds of cars, SUVs, and trucks? All different years, all different makes, all different models. Really good prices, too. Now, everyone says that about the money, but Mount Moriah Auto Sales proves it. They work hard to get you the deal you want, even financing. Plus, they have a huge full-service department to help you take care of your car. So many choices at Mount Moriah Auto Sales. They're almost unlimited, with new vehicles coming in every day. Now, these are really good cars and trucks and SUVs that you'll want to drive. And yes, low miles, too. It's so easy. Just go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales, tell them what you want, but keep your eyes open because you might just find the car of your dreams. Mount Moriah Auto Sales makes it all possible. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner, right on the price, right on Mount Moriah.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook.
There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boost on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with the promo code HAPPY so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code HAPPY. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Get ready for your holiday road trip in a new ride from Gossett Kia on the Pike. How about 41 MPG Highway? Get it in 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $289 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. Or get a thrill for real in 2023 Kia K5 LXS. $365 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 due at signing. And if you don't see what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order you a new ride today at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And you won't pay over MSRP. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Forte PE 543,577, MSRP 22,335, K5 PG 186,690, MSRP 27,765. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22. With approved credit, dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
I think this is the best chicken I ever had.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. Welcome back in Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. I'm Gabe, he's Stats. Now, Nets last night. The Brooklyn Nets dropped to 6-9, and they lose, get this, yeah, wait for it, 153, yes, 153 points they gave up, to 121 to the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings have been playing some better ball as of late, but 153 points is 153
That's an all-star game score.
That's insane. I mean, an all-star game wouldn't be that big of a blowout. It's still a 32-point spread there. I don't think an all-star game.
Please tell me that went over the over.
It should have. Let me check. Easily should have gone over.
Of course it did.
Well, you never know with the NBA.
What was the over-under?
That's what I'm about to look at. That's what I'm more worried about.
Had to be in the 220s neighborhood.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No, I mean that's way over.
Well, I know it's over. But I'm now curious what the.
There's never been an over. There's no way there's ever been a total that high, like set total that high. There's just no way.
It's 225.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they killed.
Blew through it.
Terrence Davis, by the way, Ole Miss alum, balled last night, 31 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists off the bench in 26 minutes. King shot 60%, 50% from three. And really what it highlighted for me, just watching the Nets, and I think if you look at the numbers, they're right in the middle of the pack when it comes to defense, but they're not connected. They're a bad defensive team. They don't have good defensive players. And that's going to be their long-term Achilles heel. Even if you have Kevin Durant in that lineup, even if you have guys producing on the offensive end, which 121 points should win you an NBA ball game, defensively they're lost.
And Kyrie Irving doesn't fix that.
No, he's not that good of a defender. So, of course he doesn't. And also, I was looking this up too. Joe Harris, who was supposed to be one of the extra pieces, and obviously he got hurt last year, and it was a shoulder injury that he had to recover from. Is he any good anymore? He seems like he's bad. Because pre-injury, he was 14 points per game, 47% from three. Now 8 points per game, 34% from three. He's just he doesn't do anything for him. He's terrible.
Long ago, when the Grizzlies were making the move into FedEx Forum, the Grizzlies kind of had a player that reminds me of this. This looks like Brian Cardinal. He was one thing before injury. and quite a different one afterwards, and a big price tag to go with it.
Joe Harris is gone. Like the Joe Harris
gone.
Thought I knew pre-injury is done. He's just
Bye, Joe.
He's just not there anymore. And now there was two different quotes from last night's postgame that I want to focus on. Jacques Vaughn said, quote, "Our minds and our bodies and souls were still in L.A. L.A. will do that to you sometimes." They were obviously on a Saturday-Sunday trip, played the Clippers, then the Lakers. Jacques, what do you mean by that? Can I just
tell
ask?
us more?
Yeah, please elaborate. I want to know what you mean by that. But I guess you can do your own assuming on that. I thought that was a weird quote. But this is the quote that really gets me. Kevin Durant speaking to the media. Quote, "Look at our starting lineup. Edmund Sumner, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, Claxton, and me. It's not disrespect, but what are you expecting from that group? You expect us to win because I'm out there."
Did he say Claxton?
Quote. Yeah, he said Claxton. Didn't say Nick Claxton. Said Claxton. You expect us to win because I'm out there, end quote. That's, listen, I've been in several locker rooms, right? I've dealt with teammates that are loudmouths, quiet, in between. That message doesn't go across very well in a locker room. Now maybe
poor Claxton.
Maybe that could be a call to arms, and maybe they could liven up and try to help out Kevin Durant more from that. But KD basically saying, "I'm the only one who can do anything on this roster." He's right, but I don't know if you should verbalize that to the media and let them run with this quote.
The truth hurts sometimes. Hey, everybody, at All-Star Chevrolet, it's not often they get the chance to tell each and every customer how thankful they are, and they want me to do it for them this month instead of telling you about all the great vehicles. And they got all that, and you can get that. They just want me to tell y'all thank you from everyone at All-Star, from Drew, the whole team, Jeff, Kevin, the whole team, everybody down there. Whether you bought from All-Star or not, they want everyone to feel at home at All-Star, and you will in Olive Branch. First exit off Highway 78, Kraft Goodman Road into Mississippi. If you want something new to drive around the holidays, maybe a Silverado or a Tahoe, you just need to sell your car, go see Kevin and Jeff. If you need service, call Jeff, call Chance. They'll take care of you in the service department, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Remember, it's not Bartlett, it's not Collierville, not Mount Moriah, South Haven, or the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads and new fun for the holidays, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holiday season from everyone at All-Star to all of our audience.
So we had the Champions Classic last night in college basketball on top of the Tigers.
And it was awesome.
Versus It was great. We had a 2 OT game where I'm sure Kentucky fans are handling it just in stride, right? I'm sure they're acting very, very normal.
Great team they lost
after a 2 OT loss this early in the season to an unranked Michigan State team. Also, Kansas got over top on Duke late in the later game in the Champions Classic in Indianapolis. And we have a lot of college basketball to talk about tonight. I mean, 2 versus 11, Gonzaga versus Texas tonight at 8:30 on ESPN2. To talk about it, we bring on our guy, the encyclopedia of college basketball. He is Kevin Sweeney.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
During the summer months, it might feel a little strange to go to a happy hour while it's still light out. But now, when the sun sets early, it's the perfect time to swing by 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination for the best happy hour in town. 4 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday. Enjoy the $1.50 big, flavorful Gulf oysters and the $5 house wines, the $5 craft cocktails, the old-fashioned, the French 75, the daiquiri, and the margarita, or just have a $3 domestic beer. The prices, the food, the atmosphere, it all makes 117 Prime's happy hour happy indeed.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Let's talk some numbers here.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
I used to feel so devastated.
Hour number 3 of Sports Time is here. Gabe and Stats with you. I'm Gabe. He's Stats. Welcome back into the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Now, joining us via the phone line is our guy, College Basketball Central, and from Sports Illustrated. You can follow him on Twitter at CBB_Central. He is Kevin Sweeney. Kevin, how are you, man?
A little tired from a long trip back from Champions Classic, but good to be with you guys as always.
How was it in the building last night?
Final
nice
four
wrapped
level.
up.
It was fun. I mean, I give the Kentucky fans credit. They keep coming to Indianapolis. They keep getting disappointed every time they come to Indianapolis. I think the Kentucky fans might permanently be gun shy of coming to that city, but they show out. And the first game was obviously a classic, and game 2 was quite entertaining as well. It was a late night, but a really fun night.
Is there a reason Michigan State wasn't rated very highly coming into this year? Obviously, I know who their coach is. I know how good he is at his craft, but go toe-to-toe with Gonzaga and now beat number 4 team in the country.
Yeah, I mean, they've earned it. I think when you look back on it, you say, look, they lost their 3 leading scorers from last season. They replaced them with no transfers and 3 freshmen who were all outside the top 50. So how are you going to build a team that goes from, okay, you were a 10 seed last year to all of a sudden you're going to not just make the NCAA tournament, be a top 25 team. I mean, that's a big ask. And I think the biggest thing for me with Michigan State right now is they have an identity, right? Like, they're tough, they're physical. Sissoko has made a huge jump from where he was a season ago. Everyone has bought into their roles, and they have just enough to get over the hump. But I think you've seen in the Gonzaga game and the Kentucky team, two opponents that are still, I think, figuring themselves out. And for better or worse, Michigan State knows who it is right now. And that's allowed them, I think, to hang in and win games when they're not the most talented team on the floor.
Kevin, let's talk about that new coach at Duke, John Shira. Long ago announced that he would be the successor to Mike Krzyzewski, one of the, if not the best coach ever in the history of college basketball, certainly up there. And I really applaud how Mike Krzyzewski's done this. He's really gone away. Will he be around any this year? Do you think he has any, I won't say consultation or input, even any outreach at all to John Shira?
I mean, he's around campus a good deal from what I've gathered. But in terms of his day-to-day operation in the basketball program, it's very little. He said he's not going to go to any men's basketball games, even at Cameron this year, which is, I think, a little bit drastic, right? He should be around a little bit. It doesn't stop it from being Coach Shire's program to have Coach K around, but he's around in the office every day because he still has, I think, an advisory role in the athletic department. But in terms of his impact on the team, it's very slim to none. It has been Shire's show, and I think Shire has shown a good deal of poise and command of his team so far. Obviously, a tough game last night, couldn't get over the hump, but I think when you listen to him speak and you see him command a post-game press conference, it's clear he has the leadership skills necessary to do this thing for a very long time.
I would love to know this from Mike Krzyzewski. It's his business. I respect it. But I wonder if anything was the model for this, because Roy Williams, ever present last year at North Carolina. I can remember Joe Hall and Adolph Rupp was really around. And I can remember John Wooden sitting with Nell Wooden in those ubiquitous aisle seats at Pauley Pavilion for all the litany of coaches after his great run. I just wonder what's the model for this for Mike Krzyzewski for just abstaining, no games.
It'll be fascinating, and I wonder if maybe he just gives it this year and lets Shire get his feet under him. And if Shire has a good year, there's no question he's the guy. Okay, now I can start to come around a little more. But I think, the attention was on Coach K so much last year that I think what he's trying to do here, if I were to play an armchair psychologist, is to stay out of it as much as he can and just let Shire be the guy and not constantly feel like there's someone looking over his shoulder.
So Kansas gets that win last night, and I just look at their team. Obviously won the national championship last year compared to this year, and I mean it's just not even close to the same. They get Grady Dick, who's a very, very good wing player for them. It should be a very good wing player as a freshman, but no Agbaji, no Brown, no McCormick, off the bench, no Remy Martin. What do you think about this team as compared to the team from last year?
Yeah, obviously different. Jalen Wilson clearly made a jump. He's a little leaner. He's a little quicker. He looks a little more confident shooting the ball. I know he was 0 for 7 from 3 last night, but he looks a little more comfortable putting up shots off the bounce, especially. And I think the stability to have him and DeJuan Harris back helps them greatly. But it's a different-looking team, and I think the area where you'll feel it the most is up front, because you think of so many great Kansas teams. They've had a presence down low, and their offense does rely pretty heavily on being able to post up, some of the post-pin actions they run. And, they started a 6'7", 225-pound center yesterday, KJ Adams, played 20 minutes. They're still trying to get Ernest Udi and Zubi Ejiofor, I'm mispronouncing his name, I'm sure, but he's a freshman. They're trying to get those guys coming along, and right now they're just not there. So I think that's the biggest difference, is they don't have that dominating interior presence. But the experience that in the backcourt with Harris, with a transfer in Kevin McCullough, and then Wilson to go along with Dick, I think is enough to keep this team right in contention yet again. But do they have that extra piece to get over the hump and compete for a championship? We'll see.
Right. It's interesting because Remy Martin was massive last year. He really came up big off the bench for them. What do you think about their bench? It just seemed, just watching that game, I know they won against Duke, and that needs to be applauded, but it just does not seem deep in the slightest. And I thought coming over from Drake, Joseph Yesufu would sort of step into that role and be pretty good. He didn't play a lot of minutes last year. So far this year, hadn't got fully involved. It just feels like that bench is it leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, there's not a ton there yet. I think there's hope that Yesufu could come along. Hope that Bobby Pettiford, a top 100 kid, he's a sophomore, could come along. I know Self talked very highly of him last year, and there was no room to get on the floor with how experienced they were. And then one other guy who didn't play yesterday, a top 50 recruit, MJ Rice. He's pretty well regarded. He'll help their bench and give them a little bit more depth on the wing. But, yeah, it's a problem. And I don't think this team has overwhelming talent by any stretch. I think Duke was probably the more talented team in that game, and I think Kentucky was the more talented team in the first game. But I think the difference in both games of Champions Classic last night was that the teams that had a little bit more of an identity and a confidence in how to play together won. And that's, I think, something you see a lot in November.
Yep.
Our guest is Kevin Sweeney from College Basketball Central and Sports Illustrated. He's with us at 5 o'clock now through One Shining Moment. And starting tomorrow morning about 10:30 Central Time, Kevin, there's college basketball on every waking hour, about 12 hours a day. All these tournament games. The old book used to call them write-in games. What games will you go to? And next week, when the Memphis Tigers and Ole Miss from this area will be down in Orlando, break down that bracket and that tournament for us.
Yes. Obviously, Feast Week is great for everything except for productivity for the rest of America from 9 to 5. I will be in Portland for Thanksgiving weekend for the Phil Knight tournament, 16 teams, North Carolina, Duke, Gonzaga, Villanova, Michigan State, Alabama. The list goes on and on. Obviously, a great field. I'm excited about it. But I'll be watching everything up until then, and I'll be obviously tracking scores from beyond. The Orlando tournament's interesting because there isn't one dominant team on paper. I think there's probably, 6 teams came into that tournament realistically hoping to be at-large teams in the preseason. Florida State has really struggled. That's a team that probably is in trouble at this point. Nebraska, I think, is another team you'd probably write off early on. And then Siena, who's a one bid league team for the MAC, the MAC gets an automatic invite every year. Siena's going to be a tough mid-major, but they're not a team that's probably going to win a game in that event. So I think there's a great opportunity for Memphis. I think they're as talented as anyone in that field. I saw Stanford last week. I thought that they were impressive enough, but just couldn't make enough shots to win the game I saw them play. We'll see how they navigate that setting. They're not very deep. So I think these settings certainly test your depth. I think Memphis's depth will see in full focus how their bench can contribute beyond, obviously, what Davis and DeAndre Williams could bring to the table. And I think Seton Hall is probably an X factor in that tournament as well, just because they're so athletic and so defensive-minded. They have a big game tonight against Iowa that will tell us a lot. But I'm excited to see Shaheen Holloway's team on that stage. So that's as competitive, I think, a tournament as you'll see. Maybe not the top-end teams that can go, you think, Elite Eight, Final Four, like you might have it at Phil Knight or at the Maui Invitational, but a very competitive tournament top to bottom.
Obviously, Tigers lose last night to SLU, and I think SLU is a very, very good team. That's a tournament team. I really believe that, and they're experienced. Yuri Collins, he's got a new fan after last night. He is sensational. Love watching him play. Now, on the Tigers side, there were 2 things that I was concerned about going into the year, and I think a lot of people were concerned about, and they both reared their ugly head. One was three-point shooting. One was front court depth. Do you think that those will just continue to be issues the entire year? Do you think that they can somehow figure this out, and Penny has sort of the pieces that he could move around at least a little bit to hide some of those weaknesses?
Yeah, I think both of those things are things that will hold them back. I don't think there are things that can't be overcome. But I think they're going to need more from Teo up front if Malcolm Danzig is out. You need more than 7 minutes from him if you're going to be in these spots, right? Because Chandler Lawson is who he is. I want to see the rim protector, right? It changes your defense. You have a rim protector on the floor, and I think that you want to see more from him, and I think you start to see why he only averaged 5 points a game against Arlington, right? I mean, he's limited as athletic as he is. So, yeah, I think I got to watch the tape of this one just because was a champion last night, but it's really no shame in losing to St. Louis. But I think you see the talent of this team with the 2 stars in Davis and Williams against playing really, really well, but also the limitations that hold this team back from maybe having an even more special season than what they could accomplish otherwise. And again, St. Louis is really, really good. They have 3 great guards, and I know there was lots of rumors in the offseason that Tennessee was getting Yuri Collins out of the portal. And I think after what happened this weekend, maybe Rick Barnes wishes that has come to fruition after all.
Yeah, that was a stunner Sunday with how easily Colorado defeated UT. Kevin, Sunday afternoon in Memphis at FedEx Forum, first home game of the year for the Memphis Tigers, and it's no gimme against Virginia Common.
Whew. Talk about a team that will get into you and guard. I mean, this will be a fist fight on both sides. I'm excited about it. VCU will be, I think, a little bit worn down from this week. They play 2 games tonight against Arizona State and then tomorrow night against either Michigan or Pitt. So 3 high major games in a week, I think, will really test you physically if you're VCU. But that's the game you want if you're Memphis. You would take a split from VCU and St. Louis, 2 really good teams. But at home, I think that's the game you got to have, even though I think VCU is really, really good and has 2 tremendous guards in Ace Baldwin and Jaden Dunn.
So you mentioned Florida State. You think they're just about cooked looking at their first 3 losses. Well, yeah, I mean, them and Louisville. What do you think that is the issue in general? Obviously different for both, but Kenny Payne, too, at Louisville, just is about as bad as you could start if you're him.
Yeah, Florida State issues are a little bit of everything. They have injuries. They have a suspension for one of their top incoming players, Baba Miller. I don't think their younger guys have come along as quickly as they hoped. Guys like Matthew Cleveland, who contributed last year. I think they'll get better as it goes on, just because they're running out of bodies right now, and they should get some of those guys back relatively soon. But Louisville's in real trouble. And you look at the schedule, and it's inconceivable that Louisville will start 0-10, but I also can't see a game where I think they should be favored up until their 11th game. So seeing what they've done in the first 2 games is really concerning. I think a lot of it is, a self-inflicted wound dating back to how they operated this offseason and didn't get aggressive and go into the portal, didn't get more guards. They have basically one scholarship guard on the roster who's capable of playing real minutes in the ACC. You'd like to see a little bit more fight. You'd like to see a little bit more adjustments from Kenny Payne, right? To me, the only strength that Louisville has right now is they're big and athletic. So why aren't we running and pressing? Why aren't we trying to do something to make the game uncomfortable for Appalachian State and Bellarmine, right? That's concerning to me. But I don't think it's necessarily been coaching decisions on the court with Payne as much as it's been, some strategic decisions in roster building that he's going to pay for. And it's going to be an uncomfortable year. It's going to be an uncomfortable offseason. You miss on DJ Wagner. You're going to have a potentially historically bad season at Louisville. It is not going to be a fun spring for Kenny Payne. He's going to have to make some wholesale changes.
At the Final Four, who will you declare? Who do you predict will be the portal king in college basketball? They made it work they got better with the incoming than the outgoing. They got chemistry and maybe just a deep run in the tournament, or maybe it took to Houston to the Final Four. Who will it be?
That's a really hard question. I think of a team like San Diego State as a team that has done the portal right, and they're this kind of sleeper Final Four team. A lot of people talking about they're in the top 15 nationally now. They're a team that I think of as that style of team where they had an established core, a group that was good enough to go to the NCAA tournament, to be in the mix in the top 25, and then they got 2 high-impact transfers that plugged holes, and that led them to being able to compete with the best teams nationally. We'll see them in Maui next week. I think of them as a team that could be that, and then Baylor as well. Baylor was able to rework their front court and get deeper there. And again, I think a similar recipe where they've gotten guys who fit who they are. They haven't completely redefined their program around certain transfers that they've taken, but they found holes that they needed to plug and plugged them with high quality replacements and guys who really fit into who they are as a program.
Kevin, I'm always scared to declare victory over COVID. It's almost like the George W. Bush mission accomplished sign behind him. But I think next week when we get in that little bandbox in Maui and finally back there, I'm about ready to hang my mission accomplished banner for sports at Maui. Finally back there.
Well, it doesn't get much closer than that to the action. It's a venue I hope to get to at some point soon. But it's especially back there. I mean, I was in Vegas last year when they put on a kind of half attempt at a Maui Invitational there, and as much as they tried, you just can't replicate it. It's such a special part of the college basketball calendar, and one of the few things we still haven't caught up on from COVID. Right? We had a full Final Four. We had a full national championship.
This
we
is
had
it.
Cameron Indoor.
I got my banner ready.
I'm very, very excited to see it back, and I know the folks who helped put together the tournament, Dave Odom, the tournament chair, and they've been chomping at the bit to get to this moment, and I mean, I just can't wait for Monday.
Who in the Big Ten? This has been an interesting thing for me because Big Ten is usually heralded, at least the last few years, as the deepest conference. They don't have a whole lot of tournament success, but they have some to a certain extent. Who do you think is the team that is going to emerge out of the Big Ten as the team to beat? I know what the rankings say. Indiana's 12, Illinois is 19, Michigan's 20. Those are the only ranked teams. But who is that team in the Big Ten to you?
I love Illinois. And I think, and I say this knowing that they're probably going to get humbled this weekend. They play UCLA on Friday and then either Baylor or Virginia on Sunday. I'm pretty sure they're going to lose both of those games because those teams are experienced and Illinois is not. But come March 1st, this Illinois team, with the talent that they have, with guys like Terrence Shannon and Matthew Meyer, who have huge pedigree, and I just think they're also built to win in March because they're a lot more versatile. So many of these Big Ten
future
teams,
Big Ten game too.
Right. The narrative is you got to be physical, you got to be tough. And yes, this team can be tough, but this team is long and athletic, and can run and press, and their center's a guy who can shoot threes, and Coleman Hawkins. That's exciting. So I think Illinois has a great mix, and if it all comes together like it's starting to, and you see it with their early season games, they're blowing teams out, which is a good sign. You're playing bad teams, but you want to blow them out. I think that this team could be really, really good by the time we get towards February and March.
So, got to put you on the spot to a certain extent, and I'm curious because I obviously in Memphis we get one side of the story with DeMaurier Franklin. I saw you tweet about it last week, and obviously his dad bought 50 tickets to the UIC game. I don't know if that's really showing them by any stretch of the imagination. I think they have 1,000 people that will show up there a night, 50 tickets. I think they're happy that those got bought. But how do you understand the DeMaurier Franklin case, and do you think that eventually he could get cleared this year and play for the Tigers?
I think he could get cleared. I don't know all of the details in terms of the timeline for the NCAA situation, so I don't want to speculate too much. But I think kind of my 30,000-foot view on things is that I think it's reasonable to say that DeMaurier Franklin should be eligible to play this year, but I don't think it's reasonable that he should expect UIC to sign a non-participation waiver because, you know, if the story is, as I've read it, is to be believed, he told UIC he wasn't going to play. And if you tell UIC you're not going to play, the scholarship agreement kind of becomes null and void. So I understand it's a tricky situation, and it's not a situation anyone wants to be in, but I guess I don't have huge sympathy for a kid who decides on August 1st he doesn't want to be somewhere and leaves his old team out to dry when now his coach doesn't want to sign a waiver that's a lie. And I think that's frustrating to me that these headlines continue to go this way. I hope he gets to play because I hope I think at this point these rules are it's stupid that there's 1,300 kids who are eligible right now and he's not, right? Like that's ridiculous to me, but it's ridiculous on its own that we're like UIC is the problem. It's not UIC has no responsibility owes nothing to this kid. I hope he's able to play. I just don't know why UIC has to do anything to it.
Yeah, and we'll see. It's still something, and he would be a big help for the Tigers theoretically. I mean, 17 point per game score,
more shooting.
Yeah, and they need shooting in the worst way. There's no question about it. But Kevin, always appreciate it, man. Thank you for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kevin. Gabe, how badly? I mean, I know need, but how badly do the Tigers need him?
It's hard to tell. Again, I always think in these discussions,
is it a difference in 16 wins and 21 wins?
I don't know if I buy into that. I think it could make a difference from he could potentially be inserted instead of Alex Lomax in the starting lineup, and he could give you offense. I think that would be massive, and Alex Lomax could play a better role off the bench, which is 5 years in with Alex Lomax, still think he's better off the bench, and it's proven. I don't know how many wins it would be, but I do think from an offensive perspective,
bodies,
If
minutes.
you want to maximize this team's potential and get into the NCAA tournament and be at least viable against some of the better teams in the country, you need more offense, and that's a guy who could give it to you. And I don't know how many wins that accounts for. I just know that it would mean something if he's able to play for the Tigers.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area, where all the cars are thoroughly examined, bumper to bumper, head to toe, and an unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If by chance that car you're desiring is not there, they go find it for you quickly. They have all those contacts. One thing they won't do, no shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. There's more than one thing they don't do. No shortcuts and no high-pressure sales. Laid-back atmosphere, kind, courteous employees, down-home environment. They care about your time. They know we live in a very busy world, and this is one of the busiest times of the year. They're all busy, but this is the hustle and bustle season, and that's why they promise you the ultimate car experience. You find the car you want, test drive that car, credit-approved, paperwork completed. You're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's a guarantee every single time at DeSoto Auto Sales. If you don't believe me, go to the website, DeSotoAutoSales.com, and look at all those independent testimonials and look at all those beautiful cars at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We grab a break. When we come back, we're going to switch gears, have some NFL news notes to get to, and we explore an interesting question about the Dallas Cowboys. The stats say right now that the Cowboys defense has taken a step back with Dak Prescott in there as the starting quarterback. Why? Why is that the case? We'll be right back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Get ready for your holiday road trip in a new ride from Gossett Kia on the Pike. How about 41 MPG Highway? Get it in 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $289 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. Or get a thrill for real in 2023 Kia K5 LXS. $365 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 due at signing. And if you don't see what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order you a new ride today at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And you won't pay over MSRP. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Forte P 543,577, MSRP 22,335, K5 PG 186,690, MSRP 27,765. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22. With approved credit, dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
So I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while. And I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do. And everybody just said surgery. And surgery was months of rehab. And I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
I couldn't believe it either, but that thing runs like new.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling, Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe E. Stats. Hit us up with these last 30 minutes. You can find us. Listener line is there for you. 901-360-8255. You can also message us on our socials. Sports 56 WHPQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Or go to our website, sports56whpq.com. We do have some football going on right now. How about an early start to action? Did you see that, by the way, the Bowling Green Toledo game last night? That was an instant classic of action. Through the snow.
It got Bowling Green bowl eligible.
It did. Toledo's already 7-4. They're one of the better teams in the MAC, but that came down to the final second, and Bowling Green pulled that out. That was fun. That was interesting to see. And they're actually okay
help me.
now.
James Madison will not be allowed to go to a bowl, no matter what, right?
Correct.
So there are 65 bowl eligible teams. We need 82 slots, so 17 left to fill all. If we got one shy, do you think they would yield and let JMU go?
No, I don't think it's. I don't know. I would imagine not if they're sticking by it.
So then we go to APR.
If they're sticking by it this sternly at this moment, why would they switch direction just because they don't have enough teams to fill?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Maybe Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could be nice by the end of it, but they haven't been nice to this point. Now, in the NFL, we do have a couple of notes I want to mention before we get to this big sort of Dak discussion. One, flu's going around in the NFL and everywhere. It's even Tigers on Thursday had a bunch of guys miss the game because of the flu.
The flu's tearing people up. Gabe,
Yep.
I got my flu shot in early September, and I had a medical friend of mine tell me, I think you got it too early. He said, because it's got to carry you through February and March. That person called me and said, you better be glad you got it early, because it is ravaging people.
And it's ravaging the Bills right now. The Buffalo Bills, who just lost two games in a row. But Matt Milano, Reggie Gilliam, Jordan Phillips, among a whole bunch of other Bills are out right now, and obviously ahead of their game against the Browns. So we'll see what happens with that. Cooper Kupp goes on the IR today and will have surgery. I think he's getting that tightrope surgery for a high ankle sprain, but Rams, good as cooked.
That's the Bama surgery.
I mean, Rams are as good as cooked, right? I mean, they have. I mean, what are they going to do now? With no Cooper Kupp in that offense, they have nothing. They don't have a run game. Who are they going to hit? They're going to hit Allen Robinson? Are they going to scheme him open? Without Cooper Kupp, I don't know what they have. Dallas Goedert for the Eagles is going to be on the IR after that disgusting play where he got his face mask ripped off and it led to a field goal for the Commanders, who ultimately won that game. He has a shoulder issue, but this is actually going to be interesting for the Eagles to see how they go about replacing him or trying to replace that production. If you have been paying attention,
he's a big piece.
Second leading receiver on the Eagles and second most tight end receiving yards behind Travis Kelce this year.
How hurt is A.J. Brown? He came up hobbling early in that game, only had one catch, looked fine post-game, talking, but that's not playing.
Isn't that – I think he'll be okay, but we know – isn't that the knock against A.J. Brown? Just nicks and bruises keep him out of games every year.
Got to stay in there.
He plays about 12, 13 games a year, whether it's a hamstring or a groin or a calf or a –
I still think the Eagles are really good, but isn't it something what one loss does to a team's profile?
Yeah, but also when that loss is at home against the Washington Commanders, it changes.
It causes you to examine things a little closer.
If they lost to the Vikings on the road, okay. If you lose to the Bills on the road or at home even for that matter, lose to the Chiefs, okay. But Commanders at home definitely changes the thought process, because if the Commanders can beat you at your place, anyone can beat you at your place theoretically.
You're gettable.
Yeah, you're gettable. So there is that. Now, Dak Prescott, there's an interesting stat put out there by NFL on CBS about the Cowboys defense with Dak versus Cooper Rush in the lineup. The Cowboys defense has had way different results with Dak versus Cooper Rush, and it's been for the worse since Dak has got in. Points per game allowed with Dak in there, 21.3. When Cooper Rush was starting, 15.8. Yards per game allowed. This is probably the most substantial difference. 361.3 with Dak, 295.6 with Cooper Rush. Yards per play, 5.8 with Dak, 4.4 with Cooper Rush. Now, some people may look at that and say, okay, there's obvious reasons that may be the case. Maybe the offense gets going. Maybe, they do a lot more in regards to the pass game. I'm here to say that is the case. My view of this, and I'll let Brett, you can speak on this as well. My view of this is they call offense way differently when Dak Prescott is in the game. Dak Prescott's the big money guy, the $40 million man. He's their.
You mean there's a different offense with Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott?
He's the face of their franchise. That changes their mindset offensively. The other day they were up by 14, and yet their play chart and how they called plays, 46 passes to 31 rushes with a 14-point lead. I do think they miss Zeke Elliott because he can give you body blows here and there, and you can run the ball a little bit more with him and Tony Pollard in the lineup, and Tony is even more of a change of pace when Zeke's in there. But I feel like Dak will get blamed. Dak's 6 TDs, 4 interceptions. He's 2-2 when he's been in there. Dak will get the blame. But this is an offensive game planning. This is on Kellen Moore. This is on Mike McCarthy. And maybe even Jerry Jones, right? You pay a guy a lot of money, and you want to use him differently, even though that doesn't necessarily align with winning the way it should.
I got my answer, and I don't know that he answered like this morning or over any platform today with ESPN. I swear I haven't watched any because I was driving most of the day, but I'm going to answer it in Marcus Spears style. That premise that you just laid out, here's going to be Marcus Spears' answer. So now you're telling me you're going to blame Dak Prescott for the damn defense?
Yeah. Listen, it's going to come back on Dak because of winning and losing ball games. That's what it usually
Can
comes
we
to.
blame Dak Prescott when the sun sets then?
I guess so. Yeah, we can. We can, right? That's how it works.
He does catch it.
He
and
catches
if
it a
you
lot.
think this week's been something, wait till a loss for the Cowboys again, another one this week.
Yeah, I just look at how they used Cooper Rush. And obviously, Cooper Rush can't do near as much as Dak, so they gave it to Zeke. They gave it to Tony.
It was cozy. It was the workmanlike offense of all time. They
need to get back to that. That wins ball games. I think at some point, even though Dak makes this $40 million a year.
Oh, you got to let Dak go. No, you can't call offense for him like you do Cooper Rush.
No, you got to let him go a little bit more, but not as much as they're letting it go. They have not won the time of possession battle once since Dak's been back. They've always passed more than they run the ball, when in reality it should be about 50-50. You should be at least relatively close to that. I'm not saying call it and have him throw for 100 yards. That's not who Dak is. Don't do the full Cooper Rush. But at some point, you have to get back to what wins you ball games as an offense. And what wins them ball games is relying on that run game a little bit more and not asking Dak to do as much as you're asking him to do. 46 passes the other day when you're up by 14. It's 28-14. You gacked that game up because you didn't want to keep it on the ground. I get the thought process of wanting to you paid a guy a whole lot of money and you want to use him to the best of his ability. But at some point, are you trying to please that guy or are you trying to win ball games? Because I would be the one trying to win ball games. So we'll see what happens.
Winning games is the first priority. How's Dallas 1.5-point favorite at Minnesota?
That's a good question.
And why am I questioning Vegas?
That's a good question.
It's an even better
when
question.
I know better.
The second's the better question.
Yes. Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
I have no idea.
Much respect here for Vegas, isn't it?
Yeah.
A ton.
I mean, there's a reason why they give away free lobster.
And they're indoor, too. So I don't know. Who does that? Minnesota at home. How are they dogs?
I mean, they'll have the skull. They'll have the horn going. They'll have everything going.
They're 8-1. I guess maybe Vegas thinks they're due. They're due for an L, maybe. Who knows?
Vegas not much on the do theory.
Yeah,
they like a little more. They're a little more practical than that.
I know where our listeners are due to go. You're due to go to Bell Tavern. There's no place in Memphis I'd rather go to for a night out with friends or a bite to eat than Bell Tavern.
It's downtown season.
Open 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday, 2 to 8 p.m. on Sunday. You know about 117 Prime on Union. All you do, walk through the dining room and you access the best bar in Memphis. And it's not the loud, obnoxious, tear your ear off, people jumping up and down bar. It's relaxed. They have fantastic drinks, and they will take care of you in a great, great ambiance. It is fantastic in Bell Tavern. It's a perfect place, again, to start your night with a gourmet bite to eat, burger, sandwiches, and starters. And end your night with the coldest beer in town and craft cocktails that you can only find in that one area tucked in between 2nd and Main Barbaro Alley. For information daily, 2 places you can find it. 1, I'll repeat the number, 901-249-6580. Again, that's 901-249-6580. Or go to their website, belltavern.com. It is Bell Tavern. Let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, it'll be time. We have one more segment, and we get to talk about Crunch Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There are so many ways to buy and sell houses these days. How do you choose? Well, of course, choose the right way with Chet Whitsitt. Chet has over 37 years of experience as both a broker and a sales agent. He's helped lots of people buy and sell homes. and he will help you. It's the right way, and it's that easy. Buying, selling, or referrals, check with Chet at 901-484-5689 and Cry Like Realtors at 901-756-8900. Buying or selling? Check with Chet Whitsitt.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai, state-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Jamie's log. Progressive. The Harrington's backyard. Day 11, 4:43 a.m. The tent I set up in the Harrington's backyard to prove Progressive has 24/7 protection has a rip in it. But a little rain won't stop me. Mrs. Harrington said she totally understands 24/7 protection means 24/7. Gonna stay a few more days to make sure. It's hailing now. That's fun.
Progressive doesn't just offer a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection, just not literally from Jamie. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
When you see a City of Memphis service vehicle such as solid waste or code enforcement, slow down, yield, or move over. You can help save a life. Move over, Memphis. Let's help keep them safe.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
You drove it, you love it. What more do you need to know?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
All I have a bunch of recruiting news to get to with what I learned today and what I could have done without. First, what I learned today, not only over the weekend did Penny Hardaway get a commitment from four-star point guard Ty Lord Johnson, who obviously had other offers, Creighton, Mississippi State, NC State, from Newark, New Jersey. He gets that commitment. He also gets a commitment from, guess who? Ashton Hardaway, his son. So Ashton Hardaway now added to that 2023 class. And right now, per 247, fifth-ranked recruiting class in college basketball for 2023. So Penny Hardaway's back at it.
And we wonder if there'll be a mix of next year after players want to leave, if there'll be a mix of transfers in and instead of going back to that totally young model.
I kind of want Brian Dacus' thoughts on this, because you look at this class, this is a massive class.
Big class.
This is Ryan Forrest, Carl Sherifont, Mikey Williams, J.J. Taylor, Tyler Johnson, Ashton Hardaway. This is 6 guys right now. I mean, this is – I don't know
One
how
basketball.
Much, yeah, but I don't know how much – well, and some of these guys are 3 stars. Mm-hmm. Some of these guys are 4 stars. It's not all the number 1 5-star recruiting class, but I sort of wonder how they are going to be able to fit in a whole lot of transfers.
Well, I mean, they're losing a ton after the season. I mean, they went out and got a ton of grad transfers. I think just guards specifically, I think they're losing 6 guards from this roster. So, I mean, you're going to have to do a whole roster overload. So if you can get a bunch of freshmen, but then kind of sprinkle in a couple transfers, preferably grad transfers, older guys, that could really work out for Penny.
Right.
Gabe, what I learned today, and it was so very much fun to listen to you and Barrett Jones talking about committing to running the ball, and Alabama did it in that second half. They decided we're going to go back and we're going to run the ball. It may not be big gashes every time, big gaping holes every single time, but they stayed with it, and that was the difference in the game. They stayed patient, and they didn't turn it over in that second half. I loved hearing that from you and Barrett, and I swear, I think from the NFL down, we may be seeing the big move back to the commitment to running and less putting your little quarterback out there to get plastered.
What's bothersome to me is like Bill O'Brien knows what he has in Bryce Young. It's hard not to see what Bryce Young is. He's unbelievable. He stays cool, calm, collected. He's escapable. He's very good down the field. I get you want to use him. But I think you have some dudes in that backfield. You have Jace McClellan. You have Jahmyr Gibbs. Use them. And when you have used them, you've averaged pretty good numbers. And I just don't get why the attempts
and go recruit more of them.
And also, you could help Bryce Young with a good running game. I don't think he'd be against that. So I feel like Bill O'Brien in a lot of ways, and obviously I don't think Barrett would say this. I think Bill O'Brien, from a play calling perspective, I mean, there are things that he could have been better with this year. And they've been good offensively.
Well, that's the Bama message boards and talk show response. That's what their fans say about it.
I think it's pretty fair. I don't think it's unfair. I'll say that. Now, what I could have done without Arion Carter, who's a 4-star recruit who was committed to the University of Memphis, linebacker out of Smyrna, Tennessee. He was a 3-star when the Tigers got him to commit. Now he's grown to a 4-star. And get this, offers from Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Auburn.
Hang on to him.
He's decommitted today. So that is officially, and it is sometimes when you get all those SEC offers.
Is that a collective issue, or do you know?
Huh? Is that
a collective issue?
I think it's just an issue in general. Arion Carter wants to go elsewhere. He's gotten better, bigger, and better offers, and he wants to move on. And he is decommitted from Memphis. I will say this though. I think there's an interesting thing to be said about how Ryan Silverfield and that staff recognized it early that this guy had what it took and got him to commit. It stinks that he decommits now.
I think they have recognized it.
But long term, I mean, a pretty decent job by them of recognizing what they want and getting him to commit.
I could have done without. I hate to do this, but Buck Showalter winning his 4th Manager of the Year award with his 4th team, and still at 0 World Series wins. This was the quintessential Buck year on parade, wasn't it? Dominate April through August. Wheels get a little shaky in September, and then they fly off in October. Great manager, except for in the John Harden clutch months, the Burr months, September and October.
Also, what I could have done without this just coming out about 3 minutes ago, Woj reporting that Kyrie Irving is nearing completion of the process needed to return to play and could rejoin the Nets as soon as, guess what? Sunday's game against the Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies may get Kyrie Irving on his return trip.
I'm really conflicted on how I feel about that.
What are you going to do? He didn't get suspended. Yeah. He's trying to do they're trying to do due diligence to bring him back. They had a 6-step process.
I think if he plays and he shows the right remorse, the proper trepidation of his actions, that may have more resonance than just mothballing him and exiling him.
Sure, and maybe he'll do that. But this is the question that always remains for me. How soon until this happens again? How soon until something else?
His judgment.
How soon until something else of the same magnitude happens again? It's just one thing after the other with him. So I've grown to not really trust that he'll stay on the floor for all that long at this point, especially with the Nets. Now, what we're looking forward to tonight, we do have Eastern Michigan and Kent State going on 7-7. Got some action tonight in the NBA. We have ESPN games: Celtics at Hawks, Warriors at Suns, 6-8 Warriors. How
about this one from college basketball tonight? We got a Final Four type game with two big time coaches, Chris Beard versus Texas. Mark Few. Huge. At the Moody Center on the Texas campus, $400 million arena on a college campus. They're rich, in case you haven't heard that from anybody.
Hey, Tennessee better protect home court tonight. Florida Gulf Coast has a win over a top 25 team in USC so far this year.
Also a tough test for Arkansas tonight against South Dakota State.
Yes, yes.
It sure is.
What?
Dubs and Sons late on ESPN.
South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits?
That's right.
How about it?
Yes.
We'll see. Now, that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. For Brett, for Brian, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night and be safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Locally owned and operated since 1885, Barton's has always been your hometown building supply store. And now Barton's is your go-to for replacement car remotes and key fobs. Introducing DuraKey. DuraKey replacements and renewal kits can be programmed in-store while you wait. Plus, save up to 60% compared to dealer prices.